This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
This is a sight that no one should ever have to see.
Indianapolis police are working on a motive after a mass shooting at a FedEx warehouse near the airport there late last night. 9 people were killed. That includes the gunman. It happened on Jeremiah Miller's shift.
I saw an assault rifle of some sort. I saw the clip, and he started firing.
Indianapolis Police Deputy Chief Craig McCart tells CBS this morning.
My understanding was that he was on live when officers entered the facility.
Several people were wounded. One is in critical condition. FedEx has just issued a statement expressing shock and sadness. The company is reportedly reevaluating a policy that requires employees to lock up their phones while they're working. There are new questions over newly released body cam video of a Chicago police officer shooting a 13-year-old boy to death as he raised his arms in the air. Officers say they believed Adam Toledo had a handgun. Correspondent Adriana Diaz spoke with the family's attorney.
What do you make of the freeze frame that the police has released where they say this is a gun right hand?
We don't know what, if anything, was in that child's hand. And if I can't see it in the real-time video, which the officer was looking at him in real time, how could everybody say that he had a gun in his hand?
Some businesses along the city's Magnificent Mile have boarded up windows in anticipation of more protests. One state is on the verge of loosening gun restrictions. CBS's Jim Krasula has the details.
Texas handgun owners would no longer need a license or training to carry a gun in public under a bill that cleared a major vote in the Republican-controlled legislature. Democrats in the Lone Star State have fought loosening gun laws after the 2019 mass shooting at a Walmart store.
A new spring wave of coronavirus cases and hospitalizations is washing over many parts of the country. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine.
We are in a battle, and we got to win. But the way we do it is the mask and to keep vaccinating people in the state of Ohio.
New Hampshire lifts its mask mandate today. British royals preparing to say goodbye to Prince Philip. His funeral's tomorrow at a chapel on the grounds of Windsor Castle. Correspondent Roxana Sabiri.
They'll have to wear masks and socially distance, with the Queen seated alone.
Ceremony as well as
Still, royal correspondent Roy Anika says the Duke of Edinburgh will get the funeral he really wanted.
Smaller, intimate, no fuss, just like Prince Philip.
S&P futures are up 9. Dow futures ahead 79. This is CBS News.
CBS News Radio is your home for breaking news. With our team of reporters around the country and the world, we give you the coverage you can trust.
Social Security. You've spent your entire working life paying into it. So don't you want to get the most out of it, squeezing it for all it's worth? Jason and Carl Kreiderman and the team at Great Lakes Investment Advisors can show you ways to do that with their Social Security report. It's a great first step to learn how your Social Security benefits can play a role in your overall retirement income plan, especially because the Social Security Administration isn't able to give advice. Get your free Social Security report from Great Lakes Investment Advisors at greatlakesoffers.com/security. That's greatlakesoffers.com/security. And for more on retirement planning, tune in to Jason and Carl's radio show, Your Financial Empower Hour, every Sunday morning at 8. Firm offers insurance services, investment advisory services offered by Great Lakes Investment Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor firm in the state of Michigan. Firm is not affiliated with or in U.S. government or any governmental agency.
When the forgotten poor are in need of healing, they wait for a ship unlike any other. Mercy Ships, a floating hospital staffed by volunteers, heroes of mercy who donate their time to save lives.
Every human has the right to have a place at the table of the human race.
If you could just see the smiles that you get when lives have been changed, then it would make it all worth it.
To learn more about Heroes of Mercy, go to mercyships.org.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms can mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
From the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
It's 39 degrees at 9:05. Good morning. A $15 million fine has been imposed by federal regulators against the former owner of a mid-Michigan dam. The Gladwin County Dam failed last May, causing a downstream failure of the Sanford Dam and flooding in the village of Sanford and city of Midland. On Thursday, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission said it would assess the penalty against Boyce Hydro, a bankrupt company co-owned by Lee Muller of Nevada that formerly operated the Edenville Dam. The fine equals the largest civil penalty for a hydroelectric dam safety failure in the United States. Michigan's top election official is blasting Republican-backed voting bills that are pending in the legislature, saying some would be more restrictive than a controversial new law in Georgia. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson reacting to the legislation yesterday.
Instead of doing what is best for our state and our voters, instead of following the facts and the truth and the data, Michigan legislators are choosing to be a part of a national, coordinated, partisan effort to restrict your freedom to vote. They choose to legislate in furtherance of false claims and misinformation about the 2020 election, doubling down on the big lie that has been disproven again and again.
One of the Michigan measures would require voters to attach a photocopy of their driver's license to the application. Benson says it serves no other purpose than to make it for them to vote absentee. A doctor at Michigan's largest hospital system says the spread of COVID-19 in suburban Detroit is like a runaway train. Beaumont Health is even turning to evaluations outdoors as people show up for care. Beaumont has 8 hospitals in southeastern Michigan. It had more than 800 patients being treated for COVID-19, up from about 500 2 weeks ago and just 128 at the end of February. The surge isn't limited to Beaumont. The number of patients confirmed with COVID-19 was near 4,000 statewide. 4 hospitals this week said they were at 100% capacity. WSGW 907.
Warmer weather is on the way, and Associates in Eye Care wants you to remember to wear your sunglasses. Most of us acquire nearly 80% of our lifetime UV exposure before the age of 18, so it's extremely important for children to have sunglasses with UV protection. Ultraviolet rays are also reflected off of water. That's why sunglasses are important in all types of weather. Ultraviolet rays have harmful effects on the eyes that can lead to cataracts and macular degeneration when we're older. To make an appointment with Dr. Cox or Dr. Kazmarek at their Saginaw or Hemlock location, call 792-8686. Associates in Eye Care, caring for our patients as we would want to be treated.
We're proud to make Pioneer Sugar for you and your family. Proud to be found in your kitchen, the heart of your home. Doesn't really matter what you make with Pioneer Sugar, whether it's with our granulated white, light brown, or soft confectioners. It's the memories you'll make using it that will matter the most. Pioneer Sugar, pure and all natural, made from sugar beets grown right here. What could be sweeter than that?
WSGW News Time now 9:08. United Way of Midland County and the Midland Business Alliance are taking donations to provide free lunches to teachers from local restaurants. The initiative is a way to show appreciation to teachers during the rest of the school year as the pandemic continues to. People can make donations by adopting a school, half of the school, or even providing just $10 to help cover the cost of a meal. The donations will be used for staff members in Bullock Creek, Coleman, and Midland school districts. Anyone wanting to make a donation can visit unitedwaymidland.org. The Consumers Energy Foundation has announced the winners of its Put Your Town on the Map competition, which awarded a total of $50,000 to projects designed to make smaller Michigan communities better places to live and work. WSGW's Ann Williams has more.
The city of Alma came in third and will get $10,000 to create usable art spaces in the downtown area. In second place for a $15,000 prize was Pinckney, which will use the money to turn vacant land into an accessible community garden project that will create a public gathering space. The number 1 spot went to Commons Township in Oscoda County, which will receive $25,000 to create a diverse public square designed for community events and tourism promotion. A panel of judges chose the 3 winning projects Wednesday after presentations from 10 finalist communities. Finalists included projects in Clare, Fowlerville, Galesburg, Manistee, Marshall, Sanford, and Vassar. Consumers Energy created the Put Your Town on the Map ideas and provide critical dollars for projects that are being developed in small towns throughout Michigan's Lower Peninsula. Communities with a population of up to 10,000 were eligible. Ann Williams, News Radio 100.5 and 790.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer has announced changes in Michigan's contracting process to ensure construction and other companies aren't rewarded with government money for payroll fraud, such as misclassifying workers as independent contractors. The move is designed to implement a Michigan Jobs First directive the Democratic governor issued in July 2019. The state will require businesses to disclose their labor and environmental compliance record, their economic impact, and to certify they have properly classified employees. The Democratic governor says a misclassification of workers as independent contractors deprives employees of critical benefits like overtime pay, workers' comp, and health care. Budget certainty. That's what local school leaders want from Lansing lawmakers for the next school year. More from MNN's John Hewitt.
It may seem like the 2021-22 school year is a long way off, but local school leaders gathered as part of a media Zoom call today, already asking state lawmakers to get their budget house in order when it comes to school spending in the coming year. Among those on a Zoom meeting call today was St. Clair County RESA Superintendent Dr. Kevin Miller.
When we don't have a clear picture from the state level, it's a little bit like throwing darts at a board because we don't really know what the financial picture is going to look like from the state level. So in that case, we really appreciate some movement from the state level to get us a budget so that it helps us with some clarity to amend our budgets to get ready.
While school districts by law need to have their budgets approved in June, the state's coming fiscal year budget is not technically due until the 1st of October.
When you see news happening, call the WSGW newsroom at 752-0790. It's 9/11. I'm Dave Maurer.
Here's your WSGW weatherology forecast. Partly sunny for today. Highs will top out near 56 degrees. Winds northwesterly 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy. Lows drop to 38. Winds north 5 to 10. Saturday, patchy frost possible in spots early. Otherwise, partly sunny. Highs head back to the 50s. Saturday night, partly cloudy to mostly clear. Lows head back down to 38. Looking at to Sunday, mostly sunny. Highs get close to 60. Lows fall back to 36 on Sunday night. And then highs climb into the lower 60s on Monday. This is Phil Jensko with the WSGW weatherology forecast.
Right now, it's 33.
Now, the only local radio talk show offering you the chance to ask your questions and express your opinions from around your block to around the world. The Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online, WSGW.com.
Well, good morning to you and welcome. Welcome to another edition of the Art Lewis Show here on WSGW. Nice to have you with us this morning. We'll have open phones later on this hour and next at 11 o'clock. We will talk to Nathan Miller. He's the new lead pastor of the Church of the Nazarene right next door to the radio station on Tittabawassee Road. But for the first part of this hour, we're going to talk about a new FEMA grant to reimburse funeral expenses related to COVID-19. And one of the organizations charged with administering that is the Skorupski Family Funeral Homes. And to tell us about this, we welcome to the program Spencer Skorupski. Good morning, Spencer.
Well, good morning, Art. Thank you for having me to talk about this very important and relevant topic.
All right, let's talk. First of all, this is a FEMA grant, right? This came from the federal government?
That is correct. So FEMA, as we know, does provide disaster assistance for all sorts of disasters. And on April 12th, FEMA went ahead and opened their hotline for the COVID. And we've done a little bit of research. They are the ultimate masters of this reimbursement, if you will. But we're certainly here to be of assistance and be of help with families that may need that assistance with navigating that process, Art.
So let's talk about this grant. Who qualifies to receive this money?
Great question. So any family member that has had a loved one pass from COVID-19 or complications of COVID-19 would be eligible for this grant. That does need to be stated on the death certificate. Now, what FEMA is doing is they are reimbursing potentially up to $9,000 per death that was attributed to COVID-19. And there's a couple different qualifications. There's certain things they will and will not pay for. They are the ultimate judges of that. However, we do know a couple of things here. Number one, they unleashed this program on Monday, April 12th, and they had a little bit of trouble with. Well, there were over 1 million calls on Monday.
Oh.
Yes, yep. And so, as I'm sure you can imagine, receiving 1 million calls into their call center did create some technical issues. Some of the applicants were able to reach the operators. Others had a busy signal when they tried to call, but by Wednesday morning, FEMA did confirm they had received over 56,000 applications for funeral assistance.
So someone finding themselves in need of this assistance, what's their first order of business? Do they contact FEMA or do they contact a funeral home?
Well, they're going to need to most likely do both. But here's the thing to keep in mind. Certainly the first thing they're going to want to do is keep a pen and paper handy, maybe a couple pieces of paper. The phone number, all the applications are done via the hotline, if you will. And that number is 844-684-6333. And again, that FEMA COVID funeral reimbursement phone number is 844-684-6333. And it's open, the line is from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. When you call, you press 1 for English or 2 for Spanish, and then they'll connect you to an agent. Now, this is where families may want to call their funeral home that served them to have the proper documentation ready. They will need to have a copy of the funeral bill. That's going to be very important to have a copy of the expenses that were incurred. And then they'll also need a certified copy of the death certificate. Now, many families, they may have a leftover certified copy or 2 or 3 from when they their death certificate. But if not, the funeral home or the county clerk where the death occurred can assist them with obtaining that certified copy of the death certificate. So those are the two big pieces of paper that really are needed for the reimbursement, would be the certified death certificate and the copy of the funeral bill.
Spencer, let me ask, you said FEMA will reimburse up to $9,000. What's the average cost of a funeral today?
That's going to be right around the average cost of a funeral. Sometimes the cost can be a little bit more or a little bit less, depending on what the did or didn't select. Of course, if the arrangements are kept a little more simpler, you're going to be looking at much less. And if they're a little more elaborate with, for example, multiple days of visiting, catering, things of that nature, you're going to be looking at much more. And so that's going to cover a lot of eligible expenses that families have incurred. When you're making funeral arrangements, there's 3 different sections that make up the total cost of the funeral bill. Now, that first section, Art, is going to be the funeral home's professional service. That is for arranging the funeral. That's for the transportation of the deceased, the care and preparation of the remains. That all goes into that first section of expenses. Now, the second section is going to be the merchandise. Now, that would be, if somebody is being buried, the casket in the vault. Or if the family selects cremation, that would be the cremation container and the urn. Maybe some flowers, the register book, things of that nature. That's going to fall into that second set of expenses. The third section would be outside charges. Now, those are charges that aren't There are third-party fees associated with conducting a funeral. Now, that would be such as paying the pastor or the priest, the cemetery to open the grave, the TV5 death notice, things of that nature. That's all included on those third-party expenses there. And so when you add all those together, all those three sections, that's going to give you your total funeral bill, if you will.
I heard everything but one thing mentioned there. Does that $9,000 cover the cost of the burial plot?
It is our understanding that cemetery expenses are included with that. Many times families will have had that expense taken care of years and years ago. Perhaps they planned ahead and planned well years ago and got that cemetery space taken care of, or perhaps it was inherited from another family member. But there are usually some other outside expenses at the cemetery at the time of death involved, such as opening and closing the grave, the installation of the vault, the final date etching on the stone, all of which, it's our understanding, are qualified expenses for the COVID-19 FEMA reimbursement.
Spencer, can you hang on for another segment?
I sure can.
Good. We'll be back to talk to you in just a couple of minutes. We're talking to Spencer Skorupski from Skorupski Family Funeral Homes, and we will talk more about this FEMA grant and other things related to it when we return. But first, it's time to play the WSGW Spring into Cash contest. Right now, you could qualify to win the daily cash prize of $1,000 by entering the following winning word online at WSGW.com. And the winning word this hour is chocolate. CHOCOLATE. I am in love with chocolate. It's an Alpha Media company-wide contest. One winner chosen each day. Must be enrolled to play. 18 or older to play. Complete rules at WSGW.com. Spring into Cash on 100.5 and News Radio 790 WSGW. We will be back with more.
Think about it. We could be skiing.
Or we could be warmer.
We could be on a beach.
Or we could, well, we won't get to, so what's it matter?
Well, that means we do have some money to spend. Want to upgrade our countertops?
And not have any neat vacation pictures to post for everyone?
Are you kidding? With the granite from Stone Specialists, we'll want to show it off.
A picture is worth 1,000 words.
But a stone countertop? That's forever.
I like the way you think.
Stone Specialists will handle your countertop upgrade from start to finish. From imagination to installation, they'll guide you through every step of the process. Upgrade and increase the beauty and value of your home with Stone Specialists. Now available by appointment to serve you better with 2 locations in Burton and Midland at stonespecialists.net or follow us on Facebook. Stone Specialists will handle your countertop upgrade from start to finish. Stone Specialists bring the romance of natural stone to your home.
Hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Some key housing numbers in this morning show U.S. housing starts increased more than expected in March. Home building rebounded up 19.4% last month, but soaring lumber prices amid supply constraints could limit builders' capacity to boost production. Turkey's central bank says it's going to ban the use of cryptocurrencies in payments for goods and services, calling it excessively volatile. Many people in Turkey have been turning to cryptocurrencies to shield against inflation and the slump in the lira. And Mercedes unveils an electric version of its S-Class that it says goes farther than a Tesla. It's available in the U.S. starting in August and is the first of 4 electric vehicles Mercedes will introduce this year. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Businesses that run like clockwork establish routines they trust. That's why over 1 million companies rely on Cintas. We'll help you protect employees and customers with essential safety supplies, inspect your fire protection systems and devices, hygienically launder your uniforms, and keep you well-stocked with the leading hand sanitizers and disinfecting wipes. Learn how Cintas can help you open your doors with confidence. Oh, I'm ready! Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Northeastern Paint Supply invites you to listen to the WSGW Focus Show with Art Lewis, weekday mornings from 11 to 11:30. You'll hear local business and community leaders, sponsored by Northeastern Paint Home Decorating Centers in Saginaw and Bay City.
Research shows people remember radio ads that remind them of the past. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's an ad that'll really take you back.
Back in from the radio say, Liberty Mutual customizes my home insurance so I only pay for what I need. I'm getting on in years now, but heavens to Betsy, there are some things an old fella like me just never forgets.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E.
3-2, swing and a miss. He got him on strikes.
He made sure of that.
And that's a heck of a 5-inning start from Michael Fulmer, moving back in.
Tigers play 9:20 tonight on 790 News Radio WSGW.
And we're back with you on the Art Lewis Show. We're talking about FEMA recently providing grants for funeral expenses relative to COVID-19. And if you think that you might qualify to receive that grant, you call 844-684-6383. We are talking to Spencer Skorupski. He's the president of Skorupski Family Funerals and Cremation Services about this very topic. And I'm curious, Spencer, during this past year, what percentage of deaths have been from COVID that you've seen in your practice?
You know, that's a great question, Art, and thank you again for having me on the show to discuss this very, very important. I would say that we had definitely seen a spike, definitely a spike in COVID-related deaths. The majority of the families that we served that had a loved one pass from COVID did have quite a bit of pre-existing conditions, and so that certainly did not help their loved ones in their final days. And you know, the isolation of it all, I think, is just such a heartbreak and so devastating to not only the families that are left behind, but the loved ones as they're making that final journey and passing. That the number of COVID-related deaths, I would say at its peak would have been around perhaps 35 to 45% of the families that we were serving, and some hiccups that we would run that we just had to learn to adapt and deal with would be the delay of having to make the arrangements or hold the ceremony just due to other family members perhaps being in quarantine or unable to travel and whatnot. And so that really did cause some delays for the family. We did have to get innovative very quickly. The live streaming of ceremonies definitely has come to the forefront of funeral arrangements within the last within the last year, along with hosting outdoor ceremonies and life celebrations as well, just to stay in compliance with those COVID-19 restrictions.
I was going to ask how it's changed the actual operation of the funeral home, and certainly the restrictions placed because of COVID-19 have had an impact, haven't they?
Absolutely. At one time, we had 38 ceremonies that were delayed because of the initial very strict restrictions. And what that looked like for many families is they would have something very private, and perhaps that was the 10 people or less at that time. They'd have something very private and immediate, and then public life celebration a little bit later. That looked like a lot of tented ceremonies outdoors, things of that nature. But what COVID did not do is it did not change the need to have that celebration or to have that ceremony. It actually made that so much more prevalent, because when we go through any major life event, ceremonies heal and they unite and they bring us together. What we also found was many families were in that isolation where they weren't able to be with their loved one in their final days, their final hours. And so we had many families arranging for private viewings, be it whether they had cremation, burial, entombment to be planned. They had that private viewing because they needed that time with their loved one, since they were deprived of that at the hospital or the nursing home in their final days.
With 39 ceremonies backed up, I have to ask, were you able to at least inter the remains?
Yes. So that process did take place right away, generally after the family had been to have some private time, perhaps their priest or pastor, and then the public celebration took place at a later time. And we were so very grateful to the families we served for their understanding, because we did certainly have to juggle some dates and times to accommodate all the families that were experiencing losses at that time.
I have to ask this question. Are we running out of room for interment? Is that why cremation is kind of leaping in the forefront here?
Well, you know what, Art? We really are not running out of room. I'm going to give away my age here. I graduated from mortuary school 10 years ago. And when I was at mortuary that time, I'm sure maybe the numbers have changed a little since then, but at that time, if everyone had died in the world, there was enough, at the same time, there was enough space to bury everyone, not only then, but for the next 300 years.
Of course, I'd like to remind you, if everybody died, nobody'd care.
Right, exactly. Let's be real. You mentioned nobody would be concerned at that point. But I would say to the second part of your question there, Art, would be cremation is definitely on the rise, and the reason I believe it is it's more families certainly are more on the go. They're not as rooted. They're not as connected to one area as they may have been in the past. Perhaps somebody takes a job transfer, things of that nature. That's very common nowadays, whereas 50 years ago it may not have been common.
Is it your sense that cost may be driving some of it?
It can at times for any families that are arranging a funeral. Sometimes cost is a concern, but more so it's the flexibility of what the family wants or what the deceased wishes were. A lot of people say, I don't want to be in the ground. And so cost may not be their concern, because by the time that they host the life celebration that they're looking for, which may include as I mentioned earlier, catering. It may include a celebration of life cocktail hour. It may include all sorts of different things here. Sometimes families that select cremation do end up spending money, and it's all dependent on what their wishes are. However, like any family that is looking to keep things simple, there's many options that are available, whether you're choosing cremation or burial. If you're not having elaborate ceremonies and things are kept much more simple, then yes, the cost will be much less.
And let me ask this last question about advanced planning. Are most people doing that today?
You know, it's very, very common. And here's the thing, Art. The most common reason people choose to plan ahead and plan well is going to be, number one, for the emotional benefits. So their children don't have to worry about that. Number two is going to be for the financial benefits, because like anything else in life, costs go up and up and up. Now, when my grandpa died in the 70s, I wasn't around then, but when he died in the 70s, I do believe he was laid out a couple of days and taken to church on probably day 3 or 4. You know, it was really drawn out and buried. His funeral bill back then was $1,500. So you're not going to find that anymore nowadays. So with that being said, costs go up and up, and that is on top of the emotional benefits being number one. Number two is the benefits of locking in and securing those costs at today's prices. Here's another thing to keep in mind that everyone should be aware of. You never, ever want to pay in advance directly to the funeral home. By law, all funds must be placed into a third-party account. So we always have the families write their check to that third party. So you hear about families getting their money stolen and these different scandals and scams that are going on. The big way that families are able to protect themselves is to write that check to the third party. That way, if your funeral home of choice goes out of business, if you decide to escape the snow and retire down, you can transfer that money wherever you want to go. And it's also a Medicaid excluded asset in the event that long-term nursing home care ever becomes necessary.
So it's like an escrow account then. You don't get the money till the service is performed.
Correct. It will either be held in a third-party escrow trust account or a special third-party burial or cremation policy.
Well, Spencer, I want to thank you for spending some time with us this morning. Let's remind everybody again about that FEMA phone number if they think they qualify for funeral expense reimbursement.
Yes, that's 844-684-6333. That's 844-684-6333. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish. Have your pen and paper available. You'll need your certified death certificate copy, the copy of the funeral bill. Another thing that the callers will need, Art, is going to be the Social Security number of the applicant for the deceased that can be found right on the death certificate, along with the applicant's current address, their household income, and if they had any funeral insurance information. Now, if the bill was paid with insurance, doesn't necessarily mean that they're declined or disqualified. FEMA just wants to know about that information.
Well, Spencer, again, thank you much for being with us this morning. Do you have a website people can go to for more information?
Absolutely. You're welcome to email info@Skorupski's. That's info@SKORUP like Paul, SKI. S like Sam, info@Skorupskis.com, and we'll be happy to send you the FEMA information packet. And you can also go to FEMA.gov/disaster assistance.
Thanks for being with us today, Spencer. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Art. You have a good rest of the day.
You too, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. All right, we're going to take a break from here on out. The remainder of the program will be open phones. We thank Spencer Skorupski for being with us this morning. When you choose Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan for your Medicare coverage, it's easy to get the care, tests, or treatment you need whenever you need them. When you need access to care, Blue Cross provides you with more options that work for every lifestyle. Schedule appointments for checkups or routine care at a time that's convenient for you. If you'd like to stay close to home, give the Blue Cross 24/7 nurse line a call or schedule a virtual doctor visit. Whenever you need assistance, Blue Cross will connect you with the information and help you need. With a Blue Cross Medicare plan, you'll never have to go without your medication. Their easy-to-use prescription drug plans allow you to refill and pick up your medications from your local pharmacy or have them delivered by mail. Get access to the care you need as soon as you need it with Blue Cross, a company more than 500,000 people in Michigan trust for their Medicare coverage. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Confidence comes with every card. See what other members are saying at bcbsm.com/seniorcare. We'll be back with more on the Art Lewis Show with open phones after this.
It's been a challenging year. And Consumers Energy knows asking for assistance isn't always easy.
Thank Thank you for calling the Assistance Center. How can I help you?
Hi, I just got my most recent energy bill, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pay it. It's been a really challenging year. Help available.
If you need help with energy and other bills, call 211 or go to mi211.org.
Your day starts before the sun rises. Once your boots hit the ground, you head out to a field, a barn, or a tractor. As stewards of the land, you know anything worth doing is worth doing right. At Farm Bureau Insurance, we've always believed in and practiced this same philosophy. From heaving bales and weaning calves to spring seeding and fall harvests, it's all about an honest day's work. Knowing your insurance provider is rooted in Michigan offers comfort. At Farm Bureau Insurance, the experience you get with our local trusted advisors is different. From financial security to a helping hand, Farm Bureau understands the experience matters. Find an agent who can protect what matters to you.
Millington, and Mayville. Call Denny Miller at 989-823-8493.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web at .com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
RocketGrabPlus.com. This week's deal on RocketGrabPlus.com is for the Vino Wine Warehouse in Bay City. You are going to get a $30 gift certificate to their Spring Festival for only $15. The Vino Wine Warehouse has over 1,000 retail wine items, 16 draft craft beers, and a full liquor section. Head to RocketGrabPlus.com right now to snag your deal. RocketGrabPlus.com.
From the Stone Specialist Studios, this is 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW.
All right, we're back with you on the Art Lewis Show. Open phones from here on out. Give us a call. We had Ann in Bay City waiting for us, but we disappeared, so we'll go to Jack in Mount Pleasant. Jack, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How you doing, Art?
All right, doing well.
Hey, I'm following up from yesterday. There's 20,000 approved prescription drugs by the FDA, and the database, the FDA Adverse Effect database showed 194,000 deaths in 2020. And that equates
directly to drug use, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep.
Side effects.
Yeah. So basically what they do is they say, here's the drug and here's the death attributed to that drug. Because having worked in the pharmaceutical industry, this stuff happens, but it's always, it doesn't get publicized, but now it's publicized with this Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So that equates to 9.7 deaths per drug. That's assuming all drugs have deaths, et cetera, and everything's in the data. And here's where I'm going with this, is it's really good that the FDA is looking at this, right? Because you got commonalities with that drug. 6 women, right? And 2 of them got blood clots. Or they all got blood clots, right? And 2 of them
One died. Yeah. Is now 2 died? I thought it was 1.
Yeah, the report I saw was 2.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's my reason for bringing up the data. I always like to go back to the data is this does happen. It's being handled correctly.
Yeah.
And it's just, more about it because we're all vaccinated.
Well, we're all, the publicity is much greater. There should be no surprise to anyone who ever watches television and sees a drug commercial where for 20 seconds they tell you how it'll help you, and for 40 seconds they'll tell you how it'll kill you. And they do that to cover their own bases because of liability. You know,
right.
And the reality is there is a risk in every drug. Some people can't take aspirin, you know, and that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah. Hey, second item, if I could real quick, go to taxes, being that it's tax season still. Some neat things just for people to learn. So Milton Friedman, he was responsible for what we currently do now in withholding our taxes for our paychecks and paying ahead in advance. It came about in World War II. Pre-World War II, they didn't do that. But he worked for the Treasury, and that was his first job. And what happened is he convinced the IRS they didn't want to do this. He convinced the IRS to do withholding taxes in World War II would become like World War I, where the country had to take out a bunch of debt and they had inflation and all that stuff afterwards. So
here's the
that was an interesting tidbit of information.
And here's the good news.
Know.
Here's the good news and bad news about that. The good news is it's easy to pay your taxes that way. The bad news is we don't think about it, and consequently we are not concerned with what we pay, so to speak. Imagine if no taxes were taken out and once a year you had to sit down and write a check. Could you imagine the screaming that would be going on to Congress about spending money?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And right, it was an annual event.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Attention.
All right.
Hey,
I got to take a real quick. I got to take a break. Go ahead. Real
Your
quick.
Focus show is awesome. I think you do a great job there.
Thanks.
With the people that come on. The 1%, that pantry, if you bring them on, I'll make a cash donation to their charity. Okay?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we used to have a gal that retired now but worked with us. She's on the board of the I Support the 1%. That's the pantry for veterans, folks. I'll see what I can do. All right, Jack.
All right,
appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye now. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will talk to Mark in Gladwin. Let me talk to you about my friends at Thalen, home of a couple of future vehicles that are now. I'm talking about electric vehicles, of course. Thalen, Audi, Volkswagen, Subaru, Mazda have a couple of electric vehicles you really want to take a look at. If you want to see what the future is, these are them. First of all, the Audis, they have an Audi Sportback and an Audi SUV that are all electric. And then they have the Volkswagen Id4 SUV, which is all electric. I had the privilege of driving these cars for about a week, and they're unlike anything I've ever driven before. I mean, they handle like an automobile, obviously. You have an accelerator pedal, you go, you have a brake pedal, you stop. But they also do other things. You can set them up to regenerate. And what the regeneration does, it uses the motors as dynamic braking. And while they are dynamic braking, they are generating electricity back into your battery system, which lengthens your mileage. And, you know, for example, in the Volkswagen ID4, when you select drive, if you click one past it, you go into B mode, which is regeneration. It's a drive with regeneration. And 90% of the time, you won't have to use your brake until the very last second of braking because the car will sufficiently slow you down in almost all situations. It was amazing to drive. See for yourself. Stop in to Thalen, ask to test drive either the Audi or the Volkswagen ID4, and see for yourself what all the fuss is about. I mean, if you're a round town driver, this is ideal. They are absolutely ideal. Find out more at Thalen. Sit down, find out about the tax incentives and other incentives that may be there for purchasing or leasing your very own EV, your electric vehicle. Thalen on North Euclid Avenue in Bay City, and you can find them online at thinkofthalen.com. More ahead on the Art Lewis Show.
I'm talking to attorney Jerry Reif about estate planning. Jerry, how would you suggest I do it and keep it simple?
Well, estate planning can be very complicated or very simple, depending upon what you want to do, but more importantly, when you do it. Let's figure out what you want.
Well, I just want to make sure my stuff gets to the people I love.
And that's simple enough. But when you have a lot of stuff like real estate, bank accounts, brokerage accounts, and IRAs, it can get more complicated. Whether planning is simple or complicated is less dependent upon what you want and much more dependent upon when you do it.
Explain what you... you do it?
Sure. For example, if you do planning while you're healthy and understand the different options, it's relatively simple and far less expensive.
All right, what makes estate planning expensive?
When people do it without understanding, and then later on, they figure out that it's not what they really wanted, so they have to do it over. Understanding the options you have now while you're healthy is what enables you to keep it simple.
Thanks, Jerry. If you want more information, register for an upcoming workshop. Visit jerryreiflawyer.com or call 989-790-1461 today.
Wearing a mask is more than protection. It's a bridge to better days. The path back to celebrations with family. Nights out on the town with friends. Game days with your favorite sports teams. And the thrill of live concerts. But until we can all get the COVID-19 vaccine and build community immunity, which will take time, we all need to continue to stay careful. Because Michigan's recovery is depending on you, and so are your family, friends, and neighbors. So even after you're vaccinated, wear a mask, avoid large gatherings, and social distance. One day in the near future, we will all be able to put this. But until then, spread hope, not COVID. Learn more at michigan.gov/coronavirus. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, this is Mike Avery, and here's what's coming up this week on Outdoor Magazine. First, Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats talks about a new product they have and a way to save money on all of their products. In hour number 2, it's Tim Roller of Whitetail Journey. We're talking about springtime turkey hunting. And in hour number 3, we're talking food plots with Nick Percy of Killer Food Plots. Listen Sunday mornings at 9 on 100 WSGW.
And we're back with you here on the Art Lewis Show on WSGW. Back to our phones. Mark is in Gladwin. Mark, good morning to you.
Good morning, Art. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, and I hope you are.
I'm a little befuddled, and hopefully you can guide me and set me straight.
Okay. The chief befuddler.
The top of the hour, your newscast said that the records review was done again, and 81 individuals have been changed to COVID deaths. Do you have a way of getting in contact with who this individual or group of people that are going around the state and reviewing records and have them on your broadcast to find out what algorithm they're using to supersede what our medical doctor deemed what the original death was?
It's a good question, and I will do that. I will try and find out. I know I will probably start out by calling the health department to find out who's responsible for it, and then we'll go from there. That's a great question.
Right. Is it coincide with FEMA? I just wonder if it coincides with FEMA.
No, because FEMA just came along. FEMA just announced this grant on April 12th. This has been going on a long time. So I will attempt to find out, though. It's a very good question.
Well, are they doing like a contact tracing when they review the records and overturn what the original cause of death? Are they reaching out to these individuals so they can take advantage of the FEMA, I wonder now?
No, I doubt that, because this has been going on long before that. I mean, this has been going on for months. This is not new. That review's been going on for a long, long time, long before FEMA even thought about reimbursing for funeral expenses.
But is it?
Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
No, I understand. It's a program you're saying that FEMA has now rolled out, but those record reviews have been going on since last year.
Yeah.
So do they qualify? I mean,
okay. I would say that if the death certificate lists COVID by review or otherwise, they qualify.
But back in January, the death certificate may not have said that. It may have said a heart attack.
Yeah, but it only matters what the final one says.
But now that it's been reviewed,
that's what counts.
Go back to the individual, give them the death certificate with the revised COVID, and then they can claim
that's what counts.
But that process isn't being, I don't think, talked about or anything like that.
Well, we'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can find somebody to talk about it. It's a good question. It's a fair question.
Fair enough, sir.
All right. Good enough, Mark. Thanks. I appreciate it. We will do that. I think that is a good question because we hear, by review, well, who's doing the review and why are they changing them? What do they find in that review? For example, if it was listed as a heart problem, do they go back and review the medical reasons and discover that maybe COVID accelerated the heart problem? I don't know. I'm only speculating. I don't have the answer to that. But we will see if we can find out and call the proper people and come up with an answer, if you will. Speaking of COVID, by the way, I just want to mention this. Free COVID-19 vaccine, no appointment needed from the Great Lakes Bay Health Centers. Anyone 18 plus, welcome. Great Lakes Bay Health Centers, Davenport at 3023 Davenport in Saginaw. This will be tomorrow, April 17th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Walk-ins are welcome. Drive-in, walk-in, no appointment or registration is needed. Take our last break. Be back to close out this hour after these notes.
Social Security. You've spent your entire working life paying into it. So don't you want to get the most out of it, squeezing it for all it's worth? Jason and Carl Kreiderman and the team at Great Lakes Investment Advisors can show you ways to do that with their free Social Security report. It's a great first step to learn how your Social Security benefits can play a role in your overall retirement income plan, especially because the Social Security Administration isn't able to give advice. Get your free Social Security report from Great Lakes Investment Advisors. .com/security. That's GreatLakesOffers.com/security. And for more on retirement planning, tune in to Jason and Carl's radio show, Your Financial Empower Hour, every Sunday morning at 8. Firm offers insurance services, investment advisory services offered by Great Lakes Investment Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor firm in the state of Michigan. Firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
Is your credit card debt piling up? Pacific Debt can help. Pacific Debt is the nation's friendliest debt settlement company. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews on sites like Trustpilot and Best Company, they can settle your debt for a fraction. They've settled over $300 million, helping people just like you. Get a monthly program payment you can afford and zero upfront fees. Get free information now. 800-281-9981. 800-281-9981.
The West Branch Chamber of Commerce and Alpha Media present the Digital and Social Media Marketing Seminar Wednesday, April 28th at 2 p.m. Our professionals will explain the latest trends in reaching new customers and how digital marketing and social media work together. Sign up now and receive a free report on how many Google searches take place in your business category. Go to WBACC.com or call 989-345-2821. That's 345-20. Digital Marketing and Social Media Marketing Seminar on April 28th at 2 p.m.
Let's talk about your business. It's a rocket ship on a launch pad. But Houston, we have a problem. You can't launch because you're being grounded by messy spreadsheets and tangled systems you've long outgrown. In fact, if you're still using QuickBooks, you're spending more time putting out fires and pushing paper instead of growing your business. It's time for the right stuff. NetSuite by Oracle, the scalable solution to run all of your key back office operations. NetSuite gives you visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need to grow, all in one. And over 24,000 of the fastest growing businesses use NetSuite to automate processes and close their books in a fraction of the time. Days, not weeks. With NetSuite, you are ready for liftoff. Let NetSuite show you how they'll benefit your business with a free product tour at netsuite.com/radar. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/radar.
All right, that'll do it for this hour of the Art Lewis Show, brought to you by Linda Shepard at Pinnacle Realty. Call 989-295-3900 for any of your residential or commercial real estate needs. And we will be back next hour with open phones. I've sent an email to my producer, Michael, and we will pursue questioning the issue of who's doing the reviews on death certificates and what rules are used to change them. We'll see if we can find that out for you and have somebody on in the very near future. Meantime, news coming up at the top of the hour. CBS News will have the national and international report We'll have the local news to bring you up to date on the Great Lakes Bay region and the state of Michigan. And then I'll be back with more open phones coming up on the Art Lewis Show right after the news.
From the Stone Specialist Studios, this is WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW-FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Heartache in Indianapolis, where a man opened fire at a FedEx facility near the airport late last night.
Waiting, with my nephew okay or not. They called his phone, texting him, like they said their phones are locked up. They can't have him at work. So, members and loved ones waiting to see.
Police say 8 people were killed before the gunman shot himself to death. Jeremiah Miller was on duty at FedEx when he heard loud bangs.
My initial thought was, don't die and escape. But then when I started seeing everybody roll up for midnight shift, I had felt the need to help people. I felt the need to warn people.
Police have not released the gunman's identity. They're still working on a motive. We're learning this morning the family of 12 is asking for the case into his death to be reopened. CBS's Jim Krasula.
The investigation of the case of the black Cleveland boy who was fatally shot by police in 2014 was closed in the last weeks of the Trump administration. Late last year, federal prosecutors decided not to bring charges against the 2 white officers involved. The shooting prompted protest over police treatment of black people.
More protests are expected in Chicago today over newly released body cam video shooting and killing a 13-year-old boy as he raised his arms in the air. John Catanzara heads the city's police union.
We do not have to wait to be shot to respond. The officer had every reason to believe that offender was turning and pointing the gun at him.
Police found a handgun near Adam Toledo's body. There's hope this morning divers will find at least some of the 12 missing crew members alive inside a lift boat that capsized Tuesday off the coast of Louisiana. Correspondent David Begno is in New Orleans.
The Coast Guard dropped 5 life jackets and 5 radios down to 5 men that they saw on the ship. And the last radio transmission was from 2 of the men the hull of the ship. So right now, we're told that divers are at the ship. They're going to try and make entry into that hull. There could be pockets inside of there in the living quarters area where some of those men are still alive.
The captain was killed. 6 others were rescued. Humans may have suffered through the pandemic, but humpback whales in Alaska thrived after the cruise industry shut down. Nature historian Sir David Attenborough.
In this instance, the whales were able to communicate again with their young much better than they were in the past, so that the young could hear their parents were feeding some distance away and the parents didn't mind going away.
His documentary is Plus. Dow up 112. This is CBS News.
When you're hiring, there's no luxury of time. So instead of waiting for people to see your sponsored post, invite them to apply. More at Indeed.com/credits.
Bader & Sons Company, your local John Deere dealer, is hiring. With 10 Michigan locations, we are looking for great people, sales and service teams. If you or someone you know has turf and or agricultural experience or think you might like to learn, please consider working with us. To apply online, click on greentractors.com and go to the Careers tab for an application. Find out more today, and you'll see why we are outstanding in our field.
Join the millions switching to Spectrum Mobile and you could save up to 40%. Nationwide 5G is included with every plan, and there are no added taxes or fees, plus no contracts. And for a limited time, get up to $300 phone with trade-in when you switch to Spectrum Mobile. Visit a Spectrum store near you or go to SpectrumMobile.com today. Savings based on comparison of single-line, comparable, and limited plans amongst major national carriers as of 1/27/2021. Data usage limits vary by carrier. Spectrum Internet required. Services not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out bacteria and viruses at Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage, Navage.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
It's 41 degrees at 10:05. Good morning. I'm Lynn Williams. The recent surge of COVID-19 cases in Michigan and the Great Lakes Bay region is stretching hospitals to their limit. Currently, area hospitals are dealing with an influx of coronavirus patients. Covenant Healthcare in Saginaws is at 91% capacity, and both Ascension St. Mary's and McLaren Bay region are at 95%. Ascension hospitals in Tawas and Standish report 100% capacity. There are currently more than 4,100 COVID-19 hospitalizations. More than 1,300 of those patients are either on ventilators or are in intensive care. Henry Ford Health System is hoping to keep some COVID-19 patients out of the hospital by expanding monoclonal antibody therapy. Michigan News Network health reporter Dr. Deanna Lights has more.
Henry Ford Health System is teaming up with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to open a new monoclonal antibody infusion center in Southwest Detroit and to expand therapy of its hospitals. Dr. Adnan Munkara is the Executive Vice President and Chief Clinical Officer for the health system.
If given after a positive COVID test and within 10 days of the onset of the symptoms, this treatment has been shown to significantly reduce the risk of hospitalization and death by 70%.
You need a doctor's referral for the one-time therapy that's given through an IV. It's for patients 12 years of age and older with mild to moderate COVID symptoms who are at higher risk for developing severe disease.
And that was Dr. Deanna Lights reporting. WSGW News Time is 10:07.
Wearing a mask, it's a bridge to better days. The path back to celebrations with family. Nights out on the town with friends. Game days with your favorite sports teams. And the thrill of live concerts. But until we can all get the COVID-19 vaccine and build community immunity, which will take time, we all need to continue to stay careful. Because Michigan's recovery is depending on you, and so are your family, friends, and neighbors. So even after you're vaccinated, wear a mask and social distance. One day in the near future, we will all be able to put this pandemic behind us. But until then, spread hope, not COVID. Learn more at michigan.gov/coronavirus. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
WSGW News Time is 10:08. A 33-year-old Essexville man is accused of embezzling $20,000 to $50,000 from Michigan's largest beer wholesaler, Fabiano Brothers. NLive reports Daniel Fabera is charged with one count of embezzlement. He had worked as a delivery driver for Fabiano Brothers and allegedly delivered the correct amount of alcohol, accepted cash payment, and then void the original invoice to say he had delivered less. Company COO John Bicknell says he would then keep the difference. If convicted, he faces up to 10 years in prison. Saginaw Township is having a problem with underwear in the sewers. Township officials say over the past few months, there has been an increase of children's underwear found in the sewer system wrapped around the sewage pump impellers. The underwear can potentially clog the system, causing backups into people's homes and destroying the pipes. Officials urge residents to refrain from flushing underwear, baby wipes, or grease into the system to prevent clogging. For more information on what can be flushed, call Saginaw Township Department of Public Works. Saginaw-based Shaheen Development is in the process of constructing a new medical facility within the city. It's to be located at the former John Moore School at 700 Court, the Saginaw County Courthouse. The $6.5 million project is expected to create about 40 jobs. The city of Saginaw and Saginaw Future assisted with a brownfield plan for the project, which included nearly $1 million for remediation of the site, including demolition and asbestos removal. General Motors is expected to announce today that its second electric vehicle battery plant will be built in Tennessee. Here's Jeff Gilbert.
GM's not talking, but they have scheduled an event in Nashville later this morning that will feature CEO Mary Barra, as well as Tennessee's governor and representatives from GM's battery partner, LG Energy Solution. According to various reports, they'll announce a $2.3 billion battery plant, not far from GM's Spring Hill, Tennessee plant that will build the Cadillac Lyriq EV. GM's already constructing a battery plant in Ohio. Jeff Gilbert, the Michigan News.
News happening, call the WSGW Newsroom 752-0790. It's 1010. I'm Ann Williams.
Here's your WSGW weatherology forecast. We'll have a mixture of clouds and sunshine as high temperatures warm to the mid-50s, northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, 38 for your low. Saturday, we'll see a mixture of clouds and sunshine, temperatures again in the mid-50s with a light wind out of the north. For Saturday night, cloud cover, 39 degrees for your low. We're at a high of 59 for Sunday. We will see plenty of sunshine. Sunshine continues on Monday. Warmer, high temperatures will be in the lower 60s. I'm meteorologist Mandy Falhuber with the WSGW weatherology forecast. Right now, 33 degrees.
Now, the only local radio talk show offering you the chance to express your opinions from around your block to around the world. The Art Lewis Show is on 100.5 and 790 WSGW and online, WSGW.com.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show here on WSGW. The Art Lewis Show is sponsored by Linda Shepard at Pinnacle Realty. For all your commercial and residential real estate needs, give Linda a call at 989-295-3900. Linda Shepard at Pinnacle Realty. We thank her for her sponsorship. Also, one other note, a caller called in to tell us that Sandlot Sports on State Street, they're right next to the Admiral gas station on State in Saginaw Township, is accepting food donations for the East Side Soup Kitchen today. So there's a good cause for you. Our number is 752-6111 in the state of Michigan, toll free at 866-790-WSGW. If you're outside the state of Michigan, you can call 989-752-6111. Caller waiting for us. Ann is in Bay City, so we'll go to our phones this morning and start out talking to Ann. Good morning.
Good morning, Art. I have a question on the Royals. I understand that the Royal funeral tomorrow is going to be televised. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Do you know the time?
I think it starts, I want to say 9:30 or 10 o'clock, somewhere around there. It's in the morning. It starts in the morning. So it's around 9:30 or 10 o'clock, I believe.
Oh, I was wondering if it was like going to be at 2 or 3.
No, it's not like the weddings. It's not going to be at 4 o'clock in the morning. No.
Yeah. No, it's not. All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Do you plan to? I'm curious. Do you plan to watch?
I want to. Yes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are in agreement. A lot of people will. I've said this before. I don't know what it is. You know, we spent our blood and treasure throwing the English out of America, only to be fascinated with the Royals. And that continues today. It's as true today as it's been when Diana passed and weddings, and we all flocked to the TVs to watch. And I'm guilty of it. I admit that. And they're fascinating people. According to what I see here, 9:30. They tell me 9:30 on ABC, but I think it's going to be carried on the other networks too. But 9:30 will be the start time tomorrow morning. And the Queen has. The big issue everybody's watching, and this is a sad commentary, really. But a lot of people are not watching to see the funeral of Philip. They're watching to see William and Harry, and the brothers, how they come together. The Queen, in her wisdom, she is one smart lady, has separated them. She's going to put a cousin between them.
Yeah, and I heard on your radio station this morning on the national news that there's only going to be 30 people there.
Oh, that's because of the COVID restrictions in England. That's all they can have.
Yeah, right.
And they're following the COVID restrictions. So, yeah, there's only going to be 30 people in the funeral. And they're also urging people to watch on television. They are in every way attempting to hide the procession from the public so that people are not tempted to gather. So they really are serious about the COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
Okay.
And thank you. Glad you called.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now. It is, and it is, it's utterly fascinating how we latch on as viewers and citizens and interested people to people and organizations, but particularly people. And you ask yourself why. For example, I'll give you an example. Right? We're fascinated with the royals and their trials and tribulations. A lot of times it's like watching a soap opera. Why in the world? And maybe somebody can answer me who likes them. That's fine. And I'm not saying I don't like them. I'm just saying I don't understand it. Why in the world did we ever care about the Kardashians? What was their talent? Other than doing a reality show. Why did we turn them into, in some cases, billionaires? I don't understand our fascination with people of prominence or people in the public eye, actors, actresses, sports figures, television personalities, even in the reality world. I don't understand it. And probably never will. The Kardashians now are retiring their television show. It won't be on anymore. Why was it on in the first place? How did it happen? How did any of those shows happen? It just absolutely fascinates me. I have to admit that over many years, these shows have come and gone. I've watched a couple of them. We used to watch, for example, Gene Simmons of Kiss had a reality program where they showed him at home and all of that interaction with his kids and his wife and all of those things. And we used to watch it. It was interesting. And I don't know why it was interesting. Why do I care how Gene Simmons lives? But we watched. Just one of those quirks, that it caught my attention and we clammed onto it. But I will never understand the Kardashians. Never, ever will I understand our fascination with people that, other than looking like privileged people, had no great talent that I knew of. And sports figures. It's another category. They get paid a fortune to play games. We put them on very, very high pedestals only to see them fall off. Now, there are, of course, exceptions to that. There have been some outstanding sports figures. Al Kaline comes to mind. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, deserves all the accolades, as high a pedestal as we can put him on. There are a number of athletes like that deserve it. But many, many more go up on the pedestals only to fall off. Yet we continue to be fascinated by them. I've always wondered about it, and I don't have an answer. I do not know what it is. And this all started going back to the royals again. Why are we as a nation fascinated with the royals when we spent all of our treasure and blood to get rid of them? We didn't want to be under the rule of the King of England. But yet, we spent a lot of time following royal happenings. I just find it interesting. It's an interesting quirk of human nature. Truly, truly is. We take people of prominence. By prominence, I mean in the news, in the entertainment world, in the sports world, and all of those things, in politics, and we have a fascination with them. And this is not new, by the way. I mean, when I grew up in the 50s, you walked into a drugstore and there was a display of all of the Hollywood gossip magazines. All of them. And there were tons of them back then. Not nearly as many now, but there were tons of them back then. Of course, now we have social media. We have all these other replacements. But our idolizing these people is not new. It's been going around for a long, long time. And then some of these celebrities, as I'm reminded here, I assume by Pat, have gone on to be politicians, presidents in some cases. Kennedy, Trump. Kennedy, of course, was a politician to start with. Trump was not. But even in, California politics, Arnold Schwarzenegger went on to be governor. The Minnesota wrestler, who I can't think of his name right now, went on to be governor. Al Franken went on to be a senator. The guy who played the purser on the Love Boat in the Midwest went on to be a congressman. A lot of these folks take their fame and turn it into political gain. But I remember hearing a speech one time at the RTNDA, Radio Television News Directors Association, from Walter Cronkite. He had been asked if he'd ever run for office. And remember, Walter Cronkite was looked at as a fatherly figure in this country, in much the same way that Colin Powell probably could have been elected if he had decided to run. Walter Cronkite could have been elected if he decided to run. But he was very clear that he didn't use his fame for that he was a newsman first and foremost, and he thought that there would be a conflict if he used that kind of prominence to run for political office. I often remembered that, and I thought well of his thinking. Anyway, we're going to pause here, take a little bit of a break. The lines are open for you. It's an open line hour, whatever you'd like to talk about. And before we do anything at all, let's give away or try and give away some money. Time to play the WSGW Spring into Cash contest. This will be the last time on the Art Lewis Show. We'll have one more on Focus. Right now, you can qualify to win the daily cash prize of $1,000 by entering the following winning word online at WSGW.com. Winning word this hour is straw, S-T-R-A-W, straw. An Alpha Media Company-wide contest, one winner chosen each day. Must be 18 or older to play. Complete rules at WSGW.com. Spring into cash on 100.5 and 790 News Radio, WSGW. And yeah, the governor's name was Jesse Ventura in Minnesota. Thank you for the memory. We will be back with more after these notes.
Get huge savings with fuel rewards every time you fill up at one of your 26 area Forward Shell convenience stores. Get at least 5 cents off a gallon every single fill up and earn even more when you make purchases in store. You can regularly save 10, 20, even 30 cents off a gallon, which means less money goes into your tank and more stays into your wallet. Visit fuelrewards.com to sign up and start saving today. That's Fuel Rewards at your area Forward Shell convenience stores. And remember, when you want to pay less at the pump, go forward.
It's the sound of a good deal. That's music to your ears.
It's new, the newly enhanced XT2 series tractors from Cub Cadet. These lawn tractors have always set the standard for performance and comfort. Now get more strength, durability, and versatility with a strong, reliable power to tackle your yard, plus a 42-inch heavy-duty fabricated AeroForce deck cutting system, delivering a best-in-class cut with fewer clumps, finer clippings, and increased evenness. The tough torque hydrostatic transmission delivers no shifting. Just push the pedal and go. See the new Cadet Enhanced XT2 Series tractors today at Woolfiles, Ace Hardware, 5818 State Street, Saginaw, where customer service still exists. Open 7 days.
It's the sound of a good deal. That's music to your ears.
It's all about the nose. It's your air defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E.
I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Morgan Stanley tops earning estimates on better than expected trading, and investment bank first quarter profit more than doubled. Bitcoin prices are slumping after Turkey's central bank says it'll ban the use of cryptocurrencies in payments for goods and services. The bank also saying crypto assets are neither subject to any regulation and supervision mechanisms nor a central regulatory authority. China says its economy grew 18.3% in the first quarter, slightly missing expectations, though it's the strongest quarterly growth on record. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Johnson & Johnson asked competing COVID vaccine makers to join it in an effort to study the risk of blood clots. Pfizer and Moderna declined, interested in joining forces to investigate the safety issue. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
Finally, spring has arrived, and so have all new Untuckit styles. Check out our new wrinkle-free shirts that every guy needs as the weather warms up. And don't forget our famous polos, the official shirts of spring. Untuckit shirts are designed to be worn untucked and will look great as we get back to the things we've been missing, like dinner with friends, reuniting with family, going on vacations, and yes, even heading back to the office. Untuckit, shirts designed to be worn untucked. Use code TAKE20 for 20% off your first purchase at Untuckit.
Northeastern Paint Supply invites you to listen to the WSGW Focus Show with Art Lewis. Weekday mornings from 11 to 11:30. You'll hear local business and community leaders. Sponsored by Northeastern Paint Home Decorating Centers in Saginaw and Bay City.
3-2, swing and a miss. He got him on strikes.
He made sure of
and
that.
That's a heck of a 5-inning start from Michael Fulmer, moving back into the rotation.
The Tigers play 9:20 tonight on 790 News Radio WSGW.
And we return here on the Art Lewis Show on WSGW. Open phones, and Errol is on the line from Saginaw. Errol, good morning.
I'm going to make this short this morning, Art. I know you don't like that, but it's still going to make it short. This is a big thank you to the Shaheen family for doing an investment in the city of Saginaw for about $6 million.
Yeah.
We can thank them. They could have went any place they want. GM's not doing any investment in Saginaw, but thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Shaheen.
Yep, for those of you who missed it, they are building a medical facility at the old Kempton School. I think it's the Kempton School.
No, John Moore School.
John Moore School. I'm sorry. Thank you. You're right. The John Moore School, which is near the courthouse.
Yeah. You're talking about names and the old times and the checkout lines. How do you think I got my first name?
How?
My mother was hung up on Earl Flynn. And you had heard how that's pronounced itself over the years. So
my goodness.
My second name was George, and that was about the time that they had the wolf and the dog, George and Ralph.
No. Oh, no. No. You're Canadian. It was after King George.
Hey? No, I don't know. Tell me why you're hung up on the Royals.
I just find it fascinating. I have no idea. It's a
Oh,
soap
okay.
opera.
Yeah.
So,
You know, I had to stand when I was in the airports, I had to stand in line when the prince that we're burying showed up at Uplands Airport in the same with Churchill. Churchill got off the airplane smoking a big cigar, and the guy next to me says, "You gonna tell him to put the damn cigar out?" And I said,
No.
No, I'm leaving this one alone.
That's a good one.
All right,
Good
I'll
thing.
talk to you later.
All right, Earl.
This
Take
is
care.
Just a thank you to
I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now. And we'll talk to Paul in Saginaw. Paul, good morning.
Morning, Art. I'll talk about a topic you talked about earlier. The Kardashians, if Kim Kardashian and her mother were ugly and poor, nobody would care what they said or did.
Why do we care
But
just because they're not? Well, they're not poor because, let's understand, they're not poor because we cared. If nobody cared, they wouldn't be rich. They made their money on television and then all the products they created and sell.
Right. But let me give you another example here. When Babe Ruth started out as a pitcher with the Boston Red Sox, he was the greatest pitcher of his day, and nobody even cared. But as soon as he started hitting home runs when nobody else was, everybody in the whole country knew his name.
Are you saying we don't put pitchers on the same pedestal as hitters?
Well, at that time they didn't, that's for sure.
Probably don't today either.
Right. Yep. The home run gets more attention than the strikeout. So,
no doubt about it.
Yep. So I just thought I'd bring those for thinking.
Very good.
And that's all I got.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Got a note. The Detroit Tigers reached 85% vaccinated, and coaches and bench players were allowed to sit on the bench without wearing masks last night per MLB protocols. I wondered about that because I had seen there were no masks, and I wondered about that. And I also noticed, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, I think Oakland was wearing masks, and I wasn't sure whether it was California law or whether it was MLB protocol, but I found that interesting, but I did notice it. I noticed it right away because I saw manager Hinch without one, and I said, "Where's his mask?" And then I saw everybody else in the dugout practically had no masks. So apparently Oakland maybe has not reached 85% yet. Probably a good point. I didn't realize they had a benchmark like that, though. So you're saying if they reach 85% vaccination, they don't have to wear masks in the dugouts. Interesting. Gee, if we could transfer that to Hello, Earth. Wouldn't that be nice? I understand that is it Vermont or New Hampshire? One of those two is releasing their mask mandates today, that masks will no longer be required. And I think we're going to see more of that as we go along. It's, they yelled vaccination for so long. Now we're getting vaccinated. We haven't reached herd immunity yet, but we are getting more and more people vaccinated every day. And I am noticing a reduction in restrictions in, for example, travel. I'll give you a perfect example. My wife and I have a trip planned to Maine in late August, and Maine has had some very strict COVID guidelines for travelers. You had to have a negative test within 3 days of arriving, or you had to have a quarantine plan if you were coming to Maine from anywhere in the country except 5 exempted states, which were immediately adjacent to Maine. In checking the recent guidelines, they have reduced that now for vaccinated people like myself and my wife. If we have been vaccinated, we do not have to have the negative test and do not have to quarantine. And the way they've done it is pretty clever. They don't check you coming off the airplane or, stopping you on the highway driving into the state. Hotels are responsible for having you fill out a form certifying that you have had a negative test and you should be able to demonstrate it because they can ask you, or that you've been vaccinated, or that you're going to quarantine. It became the hotel's responsibility to do it. And there were, I guess, pretty healthy fines if you didn't. But I did find it interesting. They are beginning to relax restrictions based on whether or not you're vaccinated. So that's good news. Good news indeed. All right, we're going to pause. Lines are open for you at Saginaw Bay City 752-6111. Toll free inside the state of Michigan is 866-790-WSGW. Or you may call inside or outside the state of Michigan, 989-752-6111. Because you probably won't be charged long distance and roaming charges anymore. We'd love to chat with you wherever you are. We'll be back with more on the Art Lewis Show. The 28th season of the Bay City Noon Optimist Club Travel and Adventure Series continues next Monday with Michael Wiggy and 50 States, 50 Days, 50 Challenges. Let's join extreme adventurer Michael Wiggy for incredible challenges as he attempts and succeeds in visiting the United States of America, all 50 states in 50 days and mostly by van. On the way, we'll share the sights and cultures from top to bottom in the Grand Canyon, learning the trumpet in New Orleans and exploring the Mormon culture in Utah. There are windstorms in North Dakota and the Great Plains, to New England, the South, even Alaska and Hawaii. Discovering the magic and majesty of our entire country as seen through the eyes of our German-born visitor will be a once-in-a-lifetime experience to share. Please join the Bay City Noon Optimist Club Monday for 50 States, 50 Days, 50 Challenges at the State Theater in Bay City. Show begins at 7 p.m. Seats are $10. Sponsored by Rivers Bend Rehabilitation, Dr. Robert J. Holmes, M.D., Great Lakes Federal Credit Union, and Prime Brothers Furniture.
Is on the way, and Associates in Eye Care wants you to remember to wear your sunglasses. Most of us acquire nearly 80% of our lifetime UV exposure before the age of 18, so it's extremely important for children to have sunglasses with UV protection. Ultraviolet rays are also reflected off of water. That's why sunglasses are important in all types of weather. Ultraviolet rays have harmful effects on the eyes that can lead to cataracts and macular degeneration when we're older. To make an appointment with Dr. Cox or Dr. Kazmarek at their Saginaw or Hemlock location, call 792-8686. Associates in Eye Care, caring for our patients as we would want to be treated.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Doctors Without Borders teams confront hard facts in conflict and crisis zones. When others look away, we step in to act. Because measles still kills more than 100,000 children every year, we're there to vaccinate more than 1 million. Because some countries have only 1 or 2 mental. We provided over 400,000 mental health consultations last year. The fact is, your support makes our life-saving work possible. Picture the impact we can have together. DoctorsWithoutBorders.org.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their oil and fluids, and it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
This is the Stone Specialist Studios, 100.5 News Radio WSGW, 790 News Radio WSGW.
And we're back with you here on WSGW, and a program brought to you by Linda Shepard at Pinnacle Realty. Call her at 989-294-3900. Want to talk just for a moment about Cuba. It may be that in the next couple of days or weeks, Cuba, for the first time in 60 some odd years, will not be under the influence or governance of a Castro. Raul Castro is expected to step down from any involvement in government going forward. He currently, of course, is the Communist Party of Cuba's first secretary, and he is expected to step down during the Communist Party Congress today. Now, what does that mean for the U.S.? Well, the current president, Miguel Diaz-Canel, is not likely to rush into big change, which would mean, big reform from the communist way of doing business in Cuba. He's been brought up under the Castros. He's living the Castro legacy, and the Politburo is still loaded with some of the old guard. So it's not likely that there's going to be a lot of change. They had agreed to economic reforms back in 2011 in their last Congress, which have not all come to fruition. And COVID-19 was devastating to the island. How they go forward will be interesting to watch. As the old guard dies out or steps down, you may begin to see some change in Cuba. The bigger question for us is, do we change our position? You have to remember that in the Obama administrations, the two Obama administrations, there was a rapprochement with Cuba. He did begin to lessen the restrictions, to open the dialogue, to open the borders, allow certain travel, allow certain exchanges of goods. And then when Donald Trump came along, he completely removed all of that and went back to the old total sanctions regimen that there was before Obama. Now, I have said for decades, I'm very consistent on this, and I firmly believe it. I do not believe in unilateral sanctions. I don't think they work. And Cuba is a perfect example of that. Who has been hurt by the sanctions, and what has changed in Cuba because of them? The answer is the everyday Cuban population has been hurt, not the high-ranking officials and government leaders, and nothing has changed in the 60-some-odd years since the Fidel Castro revolution. We have gained absolutely nothing. We have had no impact and will continue to have no impact. Sure, they'd love to trade with us. We should love to trade with them because there is all kinds of economic opportunity in Cuba for the auto industry, to rebuild the nation. There are all kinds of opportunities for us. But yet, they're an outlier to us. And it does not appear right now that Joe Biden is in the same vein as Barack Obama. We've not heard him talk about Cuba at all. You would have thought if he were in the same vein, he would have gone back to lessening the sanctions and restrictions on Cuba, but he didn't, and he hasn't, and has said nothing about it. Also, remember this: Florida is important. Biden lost Florida. Hillary Clinton lost Florida. Trump won Florida. Barack Obama did better. And there are two schools of thought to it. There's the young Cuban voters in Florida who are probably more easily swayed. But the old guard Cubans who grew up in Cuba, watched the revolution take it over, fled to the United States, are not eager for any of the sanctions to be lifted. Even though it's almost counterintuitive, because the ones that are being hurt are their very relatives and people that they still love who are in Cuba. The people of Cuba have suffered the consequences. The leaders of Cuba have not. They live high on the hog. So my basic question is, why do we continue a policy of sanctions when we're really the only one participating? It just does not make sense to me. Never has, never will. It's not a political question. I don't look at it with political eyes. I look at it from the common sense perspective of what could be good for this country, as well as Cuba. And to me, doing business with them makes good business sense. Because obviously, we haven't been able to affect any change at all. At all. All right. Lines open for you. Give us a call, whatever's on your mind. Saginaw Bay City, 752-6111. Toll free, 866-790 WSGW. We'll be back after these notes.
Join the millions switching to Spectrum Mobile and you could save up to 40%. Nationwide 5G is included with every plan, and there are no added taxes or fees, plus no contracts. And for a limited time, get up to $300 off a new Samsung when you switch to Spectrum Mobile. Visit a Spectrum store near you or go to SpectrumMobile.com today. Savings based on comparison of single-line comparable unlimited plans amongst major national carriers as of 1/27/2021. Data usage limits vary by carrier. Spectrum Internet required. Services not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
RocketGrabPlus.com. This week's deal on RocketGrabPlus.com is for the Vino Wine Warehouse in Bay City. You are going to get a $30 gift certificate to their Spring Festival for only $15. The Vino Wine Warehouse has over 1,000 retail wine items, 16 draft craft beers, and a full liquor section. Head to RocketGrabPlus.com right now to snag your deal. RocketGrabPlus.com.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. When the prospect of divorce becomes a reality, you need a partner that you can count on. If you're a man in this situation, consider contacting Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men navigate complex legal matters.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Detroit area attorneys, a partner men can count on. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in Troy and Ann Arbor.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $49.99 guaranteed. Hypnosis designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. Join Mark Patrick's Hypnosis Seminar and lose the weight or stop smoking for only $49.99. Your money back. Because of coronavirus, the seminar is now online live Thursday, April 22nd or Saturday, April 24th for the Saginaw area. Details at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
On the next Markley Van Camp and Robbins show,
I guess we'll try to make sense of it all.
That is a very, very difficult job. We will have fun.
Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Weekdays at noon on 100.5 and 790. News Radio WSGW.
And we're back with you here on WSGW, and caller waiting for us in Midland. It's Tim this morning. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Hope you are too.
I agree with your consensus on Cuba. I have a little bit of a larger question. After World War II, if any country goes to buy oil on this planet, they have to, correct?
They have to do what? I'm sorry?
They have to purchase the oil with the U.S. dollar.
Yeah,
Didn't we set that
that
up?
was the.
Okay.
It's the currency of the world right now.
Right. So I seem to remember about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I'm not sure, but China and Russia are trying to break that.
Yes,
correct?
they are.
And are they successful? I mean,
Well,
are they the only two countries that are doing that?
Yeah, right now. Well, maybe some of their allies, some of their small communist allies, maybe. They're attempting to break the hold the U.S. dollar has on the world economy. How successful they're going to be, it's hard to tell. You have to realize that China has become quite an influential economic power in the world, even though their economy is not doing all that well, but they still have the clout, and they are trying to increase their clout. Whether it's successful or not, go ahead.
On September 24th of 2020, Business Insider, their headline was, "The collapse of the U.S. dollar would happen before the end of 2021." Where are you on that?
I don't think
so. I mean, what is keeping us? I don't think so. I'm praying that it never happens in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But I can't see how we can get out of this the debt.
Well, that's.
Because I think if we collapse, the entire world's going to collapse with us.
Well, you bring up an excellent point, and I think part of the problem we have is the way we spend money, like drunken sailors right now. Right. I mean, everybody wants to point to COVID-19 and look at the additional trillions of dollars that have gone into the debt. Well, you don't have to look at COVID-19. We were spending money like drunken sailors before COVID-19.
Yeah,
we haven't had a balanced budget in decades, and it's unfortunate, and it could have impact in the long term. Whether we're going to see the dollar collapse, I'm not sure that's going to happen. That may be a bit of a stretch, but is our influence in the world going to be less? Quite possible.
Yeah, it's diminishing now. Well, hey, Art, great conversation. Keep up the good work.
Glad you called. Thanks, you too. Thanks, Tim. Bye-bye now. Bye. That's an interesting point, though. I mean, the Chinese are pushing to become the leading world power. It's something that we as a nation have to look at and contend with. And unless we come up with policies that make sense, including how we spend money, we run the risk. I talked about how we respond to Cuba, for example. Well, yeah, that's one little infinitesimal thing out of a huge cauldron of issues that have to be addressed in this country. Somehow, some way, we have to figure it out. And I'd be honest with you, I don't see the leadership on either side working toward that, because both sides spend like drunken sailors. It's got to be controlled. It's got to be reduced. Can't give everything to everybody and then figure out how to pay for it. You should figure out how to pay for it first. All the states have to do that. You and I have to do that with our own budgets. If we don't have the money in our bank account, we're in trouble. Yeah, you can live in a debted world. You can borrow all kinds of money. That's no way to live. But the government, they can do what they want. They own the printing presses too. Of course, if you crank those up too much, then you end up with high inflation rates. And who wants to live under 18 or 20% inflation? Nobody. It's one of the things that cost Jimmy Carter an election. So, in reality, we better take stock as a country. Otherwise, are we heading for a collapse of the dollar? That may be a strong term, but a weakening? Yeah, could be. Could be. Seems to be holding its own for the most part right now. Who knows what happens down the road? Who knows? I just know that we can't keep spending. And I know it's nice to wake up in the morning and, for example, find $1,400 more in your savings or checking account because the government gave it to you. Well, they didn't really give it to you. It came out of your pocket in the long run. It will always come out of your pocket. But can't continue that way. It just cannot continue. All right, it is time to take our last break and then come back and close out this hour of the Art Lewis Show. We'll be back after these notes.
The time has come to ask attorney Jerry Reif another question or two. First of all, a power of attorney. Is that enough for my estate plan?
Many people think having a power of attorney or a will is all the estate planning they need. While these two legal documents are important, they may not be enough for an effective estate plan.
Well, why is that, Jerry?
Well, let's look at what each of these documents actually do.
Okay.
A will is a letter to the probate court identifying who gets your personal and financial belongings, which is important after you pass away. A legal or financial power of attorney grants authority to someone else to make these decisions for you while you're alive.
Why isn't that?
First, it's essential to also have a medical directive which grants authority to a person you trust to make healthcare decisions on your behalf when you can't. Second, a will may not be sufficient to protect all your assets. Third, depending on each individual situation, you may need all of the above plus one or more trusts or limited liability companies.
Thanks, Jerry. If you want more information, register for an upcoming workshop. Visit jerryreiflawyer.com or call 989-790-1461 today.
How clean is your nose? Most airborne germs and allergens invade through the nose, your body's air filter. It's first line of defense. You wash your hands and brush your teeth, but what about your nose? Did you know there's an E and help your body protect itself? It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to clean your nose by flushing out pollen, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. Millions use Navage for fast, all-natural relief from sinus congestion and allergies, and to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage is easy to use, affordable, and it comes with an absolute guarantee of satisfaction. And 50,000 independent online reviews averaging 4.7 stars show just how much people love their Navage. You wash your hands and brush your teeth every day. Now you can clean your nose and help protect your health with Navage at Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath & Beyond, Target. Navage. Make good nasal hygiene your new normal with Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter, the needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Detroit Tigers baseball is on 790 News Radio WSGW. Goodrum.
Nico swings, hits a high fly ball to center field deep, and it's gone, a home run. Nico, side number 1.
Tigers baseball brought to you in part by Woldfiles Ace Hardware in Saginaw.
Schaefer and Beerline in Frankenmuth.
All season long, Detroit Tigers baseball is on 790 News Radio WSGW.
All right, that's going to do it for the Art Lewis Show for today. Thanks for joining us here on WSGW. Tomorrow we're going to talk about health insurance and Medicare with J.O. We're We're going to do it unusually, too. I mean, we'll have the radio show, but we're also going to have a split-screen video available on the stream. I'll tell you about that tomorrow. Coming up on Focus, we're going to talk about the Saginaw Valley Church of the Nazarene and meet its fairly new lead pastor. All of that ahead, but news is first to bring you up to date. And I'll be back right after that with Focus. I'm Art Lewis. Have yourself a great day.
From the Stone Specialist Studios, this is WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW-FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Facet Wealth.
And after the latest mass shooting in the U.S., this time it's Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett consoling his community.
Grief for the families of those killed, grief for the employees who have lost their coworkers, and grief for the many Americans struggling to understand how tragedies like this continue to occur.
Jeremiah Miller saw it all unfold. He was on duty at the FedEx facility near the city's airport where a gunman opened fire last night, killing 8 people.
My initial thought was, don't die and escape. But then when I started seeing everybody roll up for midnight shift, I had felt the need to warn people.
Authorities say the gunman took his own life and have not pinpointed a motive. 5 other people are hospitalized with injuries. WTTV reporter Darius Johnson.
It's kind of heartbreaking to see that there's still at least 20 people, maybe 30, who are still waiting for answers. They could be full families, they could be individuals, but you do have chaplains still consoling them.
In Chicago, demonstrators hit the streets last night. Angered by the newly released police video showing the fatal shooting of a 13-year-old boy late last month. The video appears to show Adam Toledo drop a gun before being... The family of Tamir Rice has asked the Justice Department to reopen the investigation into the 12-year-old's death at the hands of Cleveland police in 2014. The grand jury and federal prosecutors decided not to press charges. Now to coastal Louisiana, CBS's David Begnaud reports on the effort to try to find 12 people missing after the capsizing of a ship in a powerful storm on Tuesday.
All 12 members should be on that boat waiting to be rescued in the rooms with the air.
This is Marion Kyler. She's the fiance to missing crew member Chaz Morales. She's holding out hope that those missing might be in sealed, airtight pockets.
2 of the members that are on the boat were in the engine room, which is up at the top by the water.
But it's not clear if anyone inside is alive.
Studies have shown people can work themselves to death. CBS's Jim Krasula has the latest findings.
People who work odd and variable hours have a higher risk of heart problems. That's according to a new study from the European Society of Cardiology. Researchers found that the risk for heart disease got worse for each hour the work schedule was out of sync with an employee's body clock.
Checking Wall Street, the Dow is up 123 points. The NASDAQ is down 23. This is
Facet Wealth, personalized and affordable financial planning for everyday Americans. No wealth or asset minimums. Quality financial advice for every stage of your life.
United Financial Credit Union wants to help give you a fresh start this year with our balance transfer loan. With rates as low as 4.99% APR, perfect time to your high-rate loan balances to us, and we will help you consolidate them into our low-rate balance transfer loan. We're here to help you improve your financial health with credit report reviews, balance transfer loans, financial counseling, credit rebuilding options, and so much more. Call, click, or stop in to transfer your high-rate transfer loan today and receive a gift card of your choice. Not a member? Why not? It's never been easier to switch your accounts and join today. Visit our website for details.
APR equals annual percentage rate. Some restrictions may apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing lender.
Here where you work, where you live. United Financial Credit Union. Serving the Valley community.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458, 800-481-1458, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Take the wheel and let's go for a spin. Every Friday and Saturday in April at Saginaws Eagles Landing. Our prize wheel is loaded with big time winnings, like premium play, complimentary meals and hotel stays, and
bonus entries into the grand prize drawing on April 30th for a new Ford Mustang. So get ready and let's go for a spin. Only at Saginaws Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel. Let your fun out. Visit Saginaws-EaglesLanding.com for complete rules and details.
Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
It's 41 degrees at 11:05. Good morning. I'm Ann Williams. A $15 million fine has been imposed by federal regulators against the former owner of a mid-Michigan dam. The Blackman County Dam failed last May, causing a dam failure of the Sanford Dam and then flooding in the village of Sanford in the city of Midland. On Thursday, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission said it would assess the penalty against Boyce Hydro, a bankrupt company that formerly operated the Edenville Dam. The fine equals the largest civil penalty for a hydroelectric dam safety failure in the United States. A vacancy has opened up on the Saginaw County Board of Commissioners. Commissioner of District 1, Kathy Dwan, has resigned. District 1 consists of Cotchville and Tittabawassee townships, plus portions of Saginaw and Thomas townships. The board is accepting letters of interest for the position until Monday at 5 p.m. Applicants need to be a resident and registered voter of the district. Email letters to the Saginaw County Board of Commissioners, or you can drop it in the drop box in front of the courthouse. Applicants will need to attend a special Zoom meeting Tuesday. The board will convene to consider applicants at 5 p.m. that day. For more information, visit SaginawCounty.com and look for the news and press release section. The Savoy Bar and Grill in downtown Saginaw has closed its doors for good. In a Facebook post Wednesday, the Savoy's owners shared numerous reasons for the closure, citing problems occurring well before the COVID-19 pandemic, including trouble with getting equipment fixed and issues with their landlord, the high cost of the rent, and others. The restaurant closed last year due to the pandemic, though remaining staff provided meals to frontline workers and takeout for a short time until it had to shut its doors in April 2020. Michigan remains a hot spot for the coronavirus, and some health officials say it may continue for a few more weeks. Here's Dr. Deanna Lights.
Bob Riney is the president and chief operating officer at Henry Ford Health System.
Based on our predictive models, we anticipate that this current surge of hospitalizations may continue for another 2 weeks, and then we will begin to see a plateau.
Riney says in the meantime, practice healthy measures and get vaccinated when you can.
Dr. Deanna Lights, the Michigan News Network. WSGW News Time, 11:07.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband. He lost weight. More important, cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend went, and she lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months. So does Mark Patrick hypnosis work? Oh yeah, it works. Nothing has changed except maybe my husband. He's so proud of me. Makes me cry.
That is remarkable. That's right. Join Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar and lose the weight or stop smoking for only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. Because of coronavirus, seminar now online, live Thursday, April 22nd or Saturday, April 24th for the Saginaw area. Details at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
WSGW News Time is 11:09. It's looking like Michigan State will have a majority of their classes in person this fall.
Our student vaccine numbers to date are welcome news. When combined with the fact that more than 80% of our undergraduate and graduate students say they intend to get a COVID-19 vaccine, we are moving closer to a more typical fall semester, and I look forward to seeing more students on campus.
That's MSU President Samuel Stanley, who says more than 2,000 students have received the COVID-19 vaccine this week, and he says first-year students will be back living on campus in the fall. Yesterday would have been the typical tax filing deadline, but this year it's been extended for about another month to help Americans dealing with the coronavirus.
Not just the coronavirus hit, but we also had the economic impact payments come in, legislation come in. We also had to, and the IRS is administering a big chunk of that. And we wanted not just to give people more time, but we also wanted to make sure that our systems were up and capable of handling all the tax returns and processing them as quickly as possible.
Garcia says, more importantly, the IRS wants to make sure people not only get their tax refunds, but also their stimulus payments. If you haven't filed your taxes yet, the extension is in effect until May 17th, although quarterly estimated tax payments were still due yesterday. When you see news happening, call the WSGW Newsroom, 752-0790. It's 11:10. I'm Ann Williams.
Here's your WSGW weatherology forecast. We'll have a mixture of clouds and sunshine as high temperatures warm to the mid-50s, northwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. 38 for your low. Saturday, we'll see a mixture of clouds and sunshine, temperatures again in the mid-50s with a light wind out of the north. For Saturday night, cloud cover 39 degrees for your low. We're at a high of 59 for Sunday. We will see plenty of sunshine. Sunshine continues on Monday. Warmer, high temperatures will be in the lower 60s. I'm meteorologist Mandy Falhuber with the WSGW weatherology forecast. Right now, 43 degrees.
Now, it's time as WSGW presents the people, the places, the businesses, the culture, the area events and activities, all put into focus on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com. Focus is brought to you by Northeastern Paint Home Decorating Centers in Saginaw and Bay City. For all your home decorating needs, trust Northeastern Paint Supply, serving you since 1959.
And a good morning to you. Welcome to another edition of Focus here on WSGW. Today we're going to focus on our neighbor next door and a very good neighbor for us over many, many, many years, Saginaw Valley Church of the Nazarene. And we're going to talk to their recently installed lead pastor. We say good morning, and I'm actually looking at, and I'll explain that in a moment. I say good morning to Nathan Miller. Nathan, good morning to you,
Good morning.
Pastor.
It's good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you too. And let me explain that to everybody. This is a new one for us now. As you know, we've been doing our video streaming, but you only get to watch me. We now have the ability to, in this case, put up Nathan because he happens to be in the studio. Hi, Nathan. Tomorrow we're going to do it again, too, with my guest, but he's going to be at home, but we'll explain that. But you can see both of us now at twitch.tv, at Facebook, at Twitter, and at YouTube. Well, first of all, Pastor, welcome to the area. How long have you been here now?
Well, since November, actually. So just several months or a few months, if I can math right.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and all that good stuff.
Well, the shortest possible story is just growing up in Oklahoma. Went to Southern Nazarene University, part of our denomination, and got a degree in theology and ministry, and ended up taking a pastorate out in California, then Arizona, then Ohio, and now we're here in Michigan.
Kept moving north to the colder weather, is that it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, after 10 years in Arizona, you do want some snow.
I guess.
You want some cool.
What drew you into the ministry? What drew you into religious life?
Well, that was a call that happened early on in my life. And some of it would be, you say, oh, you grow up in the church and you have those experiences with church, and that's kind of a natural reaction. But we're finding that that's not actually the case for a lot of people. And so I can, definitively say, well, it was the experience I had, an encounter with God that face-to-face kind of real thing that happened that not only drew me in to being a closer relationship with him, but called me into exploring what that meant to follow him, live my life following him. And that led itself through the affirmation of the church, that led itself into working in the church and being a part of church ministry itself.
So as you went through college and got closer and closer to the ministry, you ever have any doubts?
The doubts were, I guess, were in my own skill set or ability. And so that's always set me on the course of saying, well, if I don't know how to do it, I'm going to learn how to try, or at least try it. It was never a doubt in God saying he's called me. How that is fleshed out or how that is worked, kind of a give and take where you would say, well, God, this is where I feel you're leading me. And God responding, well, let's try this. Let's look. It was never a authoritarian pushing down from top saying, well, you're going in this direction. It was more like, hey, let's work this out. Let's see how this plays out. And so there was a lot of not I wouldn't say experimenting, but there was a lot of really neat opportunities that God opened the doors for, and we worked through, and he developed a lot of different skill sets and abilities for me. And so I've been appreciative. They were hard. I mean, like anything, they were worth it.
How did you get to Saginaw? Did they call you? Is it on a call system, or did you apply?
It's kind of both in that regard. The feeling, because I've been doing children's ministry, I've been doing worship, leading in worship, and as well as youth ministry, and I felt that call to being more of a lead pastor role in that regard. And so that was where you we have a authority structure where we have district superintendents, and you let them know, hey, this is where I feel my call is, and they then partner with you to see if there's other churches that would like to interview you, and the churches that responded to that.
All right, hang on, Pastor. We have to take a break, and we'll be back. We're talking to Pastor Nathan Miller, the new lead pastor at the Saginaw Valley Church of the Nazarene, right next door to the radio station. And as I said earlier, they have been very good neighbors for us from the day they opened. We'll be back with more after these notes.
Exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Direct from the Stone Specialist Studios, this is 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW.
All right, we're back with you here on WSGW. And time to play the WSGW Spring into Cash contest. Right now, you can qualify to win the daily cash prize of $1,000 by entering the following winning word online at WSGW.com. Winning word is RAIN, RAIN. It's the rain that helps the grass grow. It's an Alpha Media company-wide contest. One winner chosen each day. Must be 18 enrolled to play. Complete rules at WSGW.com. It's Spring into Cash on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW. We are talking to Pastor Nathan Miller, the lead pastor of the Saginaw Valley Church of the Nazarene, right next door to WSGW on Tittabawassee Road. Pastor, there's been a lot of stories in recent years about mainstream religion losing congregations and the such. Yet it would appear that certain churches, some non-affiliated, and churches like the Nazarene haven't seen that. Is that true? The Nazarene strong?
Well, the Nazarenes are strong, but we haven't been immune to that same kind of feeling of losing fellowship members, of losing people. What the pandemic did for all of the churches was, the going straight online ended up creating quite a stress on the populace of the world as a whole. And so what came out of that was that when we came back, we bring back maybe 50 to 60% of people who felt safe coming into church, but we were losing, still about 46% or more to church. And of those 46%, about 20 to 25% just never went back to church at all. And so I think that's an important number to look at, to reflect on the fact that you have 20 to 25% of the people that were going to church regularly decide, well, church just isn't for me anymore. What's going on in our churches that people could just walk away from that? We just reflected on that this last Sunday. When we look at the charts and we look at the data of people who say, yeah, I'm a born again believer. I go to church. I know God. I grew up, I claim to follow him. But then you have so many people just walking away constantly, generation after generation. In this last generation, between 26 to 32%, you keep about that many of each generation that remain going to church. Well, we only had, of this last generation that came through, only 15% decided to stay with the church.
I wonder if, COVID played a role in obviously reduction of attendance, but we've learned we can do things from home. We've learned we can do things without other authority, if you will.
Sure.
And has the church fallen prey to that? Excuse the pun, but, as the church, found itself a victim of this new technological age we live in.
Well, no, actually, it's been a great boon for the church as well, because people can, despite whatever their circumstances are or the things that are going on in the week, they can always be a part of a fellowship online. And so that's actually worked out really well for a lot of churches too. It doesn't replace community gathering. It doesn't replace the fact that we are called to, and that we actually benefit from gathering together as a people of God, because there's a lot of blessing in that. There's a lot of positive things that go on in that, and that's what people really need. But it is a good boon just in between.
I remember I'm a Jewish kid from the Bronx, so churches are not in my realm of knowledge intimately. But I remember when the Saginaw Valley Church of the Nazarene was built, we were asked to come over and look at the sound system. And I walked into that sanctuary and saw all this, at the time, Altec Lansing equipment, all high-end audio, a sound system to die for. And I said, they've discovered a way to keep people interested. Music has been a big part of the Nazarene, hasn't it?
Worship, music, worship in that regard has always been a big part for us, whether it's been hymns or lately it's been choruses, what we call contemporary choruses in that regard. And any church can get sucked into the concert and a lecture format. And that's what a lot of churches get sucked into is this. You go to church and you are in this concert and you engage in this kind of sitting there listening to a lecture. And then you go home and that's your only engagement in God and your relationship with God. There's no daily routines. There's no, anything like that. Like you're very familiar with your daily routines and weekly routines that go in even to your annual routines. And the church can kind of lack in that regard if we're not careful, slipping into that, what we call concert and a lecture format, when we're actually called to be active and participating, not only in each other's lives, but in the lives of the people that we're around, each and every that we run into.
Well, in talking to you for these past 15 or 20 minutes or so, I guess I can safely say that our neighbor is in good hands. And
hopefully
we certainly welcome you to the neighborhood as it goes.
Yes.
And we should sit down and do this again in the future. Love to chat with you.
Definitely.
Love to meet you. We'll have to stop in and say hello. One of these days we'll have to stop in and say hello.
Yeah, exactly. Doors always open.
Pastor Nathan Miller, thank you much for being with us. And
thank you for having us.
Look forward to talking to you again. Pastor Miller, the lead pastor at the Saginaw Valley Church of the Nazarene, right next door to the radio station here on Tittabawassee Road, just east of I-675. We'll be back to find out what's happening in the marketplace after these notes.
Oh, wow. I love what you've done to your kitchen.
Thanks. We did new countertops and a new sink and faucet.
Oh, it looks great. Did you do all the work yourself?
Oh, no. We were at Reamer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. They helped us select the right choice for us from their wide selection of countertop material, and we love it. We shopped around, too. Reamer had the best selection and the best pricing.
So, what's your next project?
Well, since we love our new kitchen, we plan to do the bathroom next.
Oh, wow.
This time, we'll go straight to Reamer. You should see all the new things they have for the bathroom.
Visit the showroom at Reamer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning to see countertop displays of Cambria quartz and Corian, kitchen sinks made of Corian, stainless steel, quartz, swanstone, and cast iron, plus a large display of kitchen faucets from several manufacturers. One is perfect for your lifestyle and budget. Shop local. Shop Reamer. Go to reamerplumbing.com.
Any way you spell it, Reamer means quality.
These days, nearly every small business owner is looking for ways to cut costs. And that's where Spectrum Business comes in. They have the best business internet and phone available at prices that are up to half off what you're paying now. That's right. You can cut costs for your business and get faster internet. Just what small businesses need right now. Call 833-919-2129 and get all the value with none of the nonsense. That's Spectrum Business. 833-919-2129.
While we've been staying safe at home, scientists have been on a journey. The destination, a COVID-19 vaccine. This journey began decades ago with research into other coronaviruses. Scientists built from there with months of research and development, cooperation with other experts worldwide, and tens of thousands of volunteers of diverse race, age, and health status. They arrived at a safe, effective vaccine, and hundreds of thousands in Michigan have already been vaccinated. But the next step is ours. We need to get the vaccine when we can. Keep wearing masks correctly and taking precautions until we reach our destination, freedom from COVID-19 and getting back to the lives we love. Discover the facts for yourself at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance. Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
The Focus Show on WSGW. Brought to you by Northeastern Paint Supply in Saginaw and Bay City.
For all your home decorating needs, trust Northeastern Paint Supply, serving you since 1959.
All right, that'll do it for us today. We thank Pastor Nathan Miller from the Saginaw Valley Church of the Nazarene for being with us. Time to move over to Baird & Company for our ticket tip of the day and say hello to Steve Anderson. Steve, good morning.
Well, good morning to you, too.
How are we ending the week?
Not too bad, really. We've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average up about just putting it at 34,137. The volume is 318 million shares. The NASDAQ orders down 25 points. That puts it at 14,013 on volume of 362 million shares. S&P's up 5 points today. So 2 out of 3 of them are up. We're not looking too bad.
And your ticket tip for this up day?
Well, sometimes it gets a little bit difficult to allocate or evaluate your portfolio when it's up like that. There are charts that are out that show what the rolling is like for the last 20 years in some cases. And those are very, very interesting because despite the fact that the market returns might have been pretty close to the same, if you look, there are sometimes some big changes in the individual sectors. And you need to really kind of pay attention to that as you're allocating your portfolio. So when you hear your advisor talk about, well, here's the annualized, and then he'll switch gears and go to the rolling and trying to help you figure out what you need to do. Often, I don't want to say, you can never say always, but often when you're trying to reallocate, it'll be time to put something in that really doesn't sound like is good, doesn't sound like anything you particularly wish you had. However, the next quarter, it's in the market from worst to first. Just be sure that you keep an open mind while you're talking to him about what asset classes you're looking for.
And how do we get some help from you?
Well, you call us right here at Baird & Company, where the telephone number is 790-5724. Or you can look for us on the web. There you go to RW Baird, that's BAIRD.com, and then just look for the Saginaw branch.
All right. Have yourself a great weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.
Well, I will. You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye now. And that was Steve Anderson at Baird & Company with our ticket tip of the day. Terry Henney's Farm Show will be along next after these notes.
Think about it. We could be skiing.
Or we could be warmer.
We could be on a beach.
Or we could, well, we won't get to, so what's it matter?
Well, that means we do have some money to spend.
Available by appointment to serve you better with 2 locations in Burton and Midland at stonespecialists.net or follow us on Facebook. Stone Specialists will handle your countertop upgrade from start to finish. Stone Specialists bring the romance of natural stone to your home.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present the future. Sevia fungicide from BASF.
Looks like a liquid.
Well, it is. Does it have any buttons or screens? It's a fungicide.
What's the battery life?
No batteries. But it is built from the ground up to navigate the ever-changing regulatory landscape and provides longer-lasting residual control. Experience the future with Sevia fungicide. Always read and follow label directions.
Maxwell, he was scratching and losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to chicken. Another vet said, eat the grain. Third vet said, it's the weather. Then somebody said, DINOVITE.com. It took 2 weeks, and the dog stopped itching. The hair stopped falling out. The Dynavite is a big part of Maxwell's diet.
You get some Dynavite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Hey everybody, Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. In fact, over 1 million homeowners took advantage of refinancing or buying a new home with Rocket Mortgage. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase again, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. With an official mortgage review from Rocket Mortgage, you'll see just how much money you could save by making a move right now. Don't look back over these next few weeks and wish that you had taken action. You could save hundreds on your mortgage payments or pay off your home loan earlier than planned. You could even take cash out of your home to pay off high-interest debt, complete home repairs, or bulk up on an emergency fund. When you want to secure a low rate, Rocket can. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
3-2, swing and a miss. He got him on strikes.
He made sure of
and
that.
That's a heck of a 5-inning start from Michael Fulmer, moving back into the rotation.
The Tigers play 9:20 tonight on 790 News Radio WSGW.
Now, the only locally produced farm radio show with agricultural news, information, interviews, in-depth weather, and more. It's Terry Henney and his Farm Show on 100.5 and 7 WSGW.com.
A mostly cloudy good morning to you. I hope your day is going well for you, wherever you might be. Not all that bad of a day, really. The winds have died down just a little bit, but still coming out of the northwest, about 12 miles per hour. It was actually gustier than that a little bit earlier, and you move over into Michigan's thumb, and it's gustier yet. Port Hope, this hour, northwest wind gusting to 30 miles per hour. Over in Michigan's thumb. Lapeer has wind gusts of more than 20 right now. 43 at the airport, 43 here at Radio Center. Downtown Midland is at 42. Downtown Bay City is at 43. Forecast coming up in just a moment or two. As far as our markets are concerned, we'll get a little bit more on that with Gary Kaufman. He's standing by at Star of the West. And, of course, Doug Klein will be joining us a little bit with a look at what's going on in Chicago to give us more of an in-depth look at some of the other traded issues there. But when it comes to the weather, again, mostly cloudy skies. But as we go through the afternoon, clouds are really going to thin out. And some of you right now might be looking at some hazy sun. It does appear as though sunshine will be a part of our weather as we go into the afternoon, especially after about 2 o'clock or so, because we are projecting a high temperature today of 57. So the warmest time of the day more than likely will be about 4, 5, 6 o'clock this evening when the sun finally begins to break through. As far as a number of locations all across northern Michigan, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies there. And Traverse City actually has some drizzle, and it's 37. Upper Peninsula, more in the way of sunshine, but temperatures are definitely cooler as they normally would be. Munising is looking at 35. Sawyer Gwynn, it's snowing right now, 32. 34 degrees at Houghton, 36 at Ironwood. Copper Harbor is currently at 35. And again, some locations looking at clouds, other locations looking at a little bit of snow. Low pressure system still over eastern portions of Lake Ontario. That is going to be moving into the New England states later this afternoon and this evening, and that's why we'll begin to see some sun as we go into the afternoon hours. The low pressure system eventually is going to clear the North American continent, and it'll wind up out in the Atlantic probably sometime Saturday afternoon. A high pressure system that's currently to the west of us is going to dip down under Michigan, and that high is going to be pulling some warmer air up at us. 57 is our projected high. It'll be chilly tonight, once again, 36, but 36 is what's average for this time of the year. Matter of fact, 56, 57 is what's average for a high temperature during the day. So I guess you could call this an average day. Tomorrow, more the same, 56 projected high, 36 for a low. We'll start off with sunshine tomorrow. And then tomorrow afternoon, late, the clouds will be moving in. Low pressure system will be setting up shop in Illinois. Our low, as I said, will be 36 on Saturday night. Sunday, a little bit more in the way of sun, but still temperatures will be holding pretty true to average. 57 will be our high. 35 will be our low. And then as we move into the work week, we're going to warm up just a bit right at the very beginning. We're looking for a high of right around 62 on Monday with sun. Clouds will be moving in late. And then because of that low pressure system we were talking about, we're going to see a chance of some precipitation drifting into the state by Monday night. It'll be in the form of rain shower activity initially, but those temperatures will be right around 35, 36 degrees. Then on Tuesday, it'll be chilly. 42 for a high. 28 is what I'm looking at right now for a low on Tuesday night. I don't think we're going to see any precipitation on Tuesday night. Whatever precipitation we get will be because of that low and a front that'll move through on Monday night and Tuesday. That front will be clear by late Tuesday afternoon, and that's the reason why the temperatures are going to take a nosedive. 28 for a low. That'll be, I believe, the coldest night that we will see next week, because Wednesday, the temperature Wednesday night will be right around freezing, 32, and our high on Wednesday will be about 52. Then on Thursday, we'll start to warm up a little bit more. Sunshine is in the forecast for Thursday, 58 for a high. Now, next week, below average. That's the way the temperatures are going to run, and quite frankly, below average as far as the moisture goes. Then once we move into the final weekend of the month of April, temperatures are going to try to moderate a little bit, but I still think they're going to be below average. The precipitation pattern might pick up just a little bit that final weekend of April into the final few days of the month. Sun will set this evening at 8:20, rise tomorrow morning at 6:52. Record high temperature on this date is 86, and that was set back in 2002. The record low is 11. That was set back in 1909. And you think 28 degrees, a projected low temperature for Tuesday night, is cold? A year ago today, our high was 44 and our low was 23. More on the weather as we go through the broadcast. Gary Kaufman, as I said, standing by. We'll get to him in just a moment. But this reminder, the weather forecast brought to you by the folks at Nutrien Ag Solutions.
Nutrien Ag Solutions has the local expertise to recommend the corn, soybean, and other seed products that are the best fit for your field. Plus, unparalleled agronomic support with products and services to unlock yield potential and improve crop performance from planting to harvest. Ask about our financing options to help you get more from every acre and lead the field. Visit your local Nutrien Ag Solutions branch or go to nutrienagsolutions.com.
Say, do you want to unlock the secret to higher yields? If you're applying dry fertilizer, the key to better yield potential is Titan XC. Titan XC is a fertilizer biocatalyst that unlocks and releases the bound up nutrients in granular fertilizer, promoting better root uptake and plant growth. Drive performance this season and beyond. Release more nutrition. Expect better results with Titan XC. For more information, visit lpi.ag/unlock or contact your Nutrien Ag Solutions crop consultant today. Farm Service brought to you today by the folks at Tri-County Equipment. Get ready on that to-do list. Take care of it with a compact tractor from Tri-County Equipment. You can hop on the 1025R Tractor Yardmaster package, which includes not only the tractor, but also the 120R loader and the 60-inch mower deck. That's a premium mower deck. That's the Auto Connect mid-mount drive over mower deck. It's available right now. Special savings, 0% for 60 months financing. You could be talking as low as $275.47 a month. You also hit the ground running with a new John Deere lawn tractor or zero turn. Those are all available right now at any of the locations of Tri-County Equipment. Check them out today. Get special pricing and special financing and be ready to go when spring finally rolls in, and we got to start that old lawn mowing routine. Some of you have already started. Tri-County Equipment. Remember, when you're talking John Deere and Michigan's Thumb, as well as Saginaw Reese and Birch Run, you are talking Tri-County Equipment, working harder, doing more. We say good morning to Gary Kaufman over at Star of the West. Gary, how things looking? Are we still in the green today?
Well, the soybeans are, Terry, but wheat and corn's kind of retract a little bit here, I guess. So currently, let's call cash wheat down 4 right now, Terry. That puts the white at 620 and the red at 585. And new crop also down 4 at 622 on the white, 587 on the red. Cash corn is currently down 3 at 552. New crop, let's call it unchanged at 462. Cash soybeans up 10 right now at 1388, and new crop, let's call it up 8, Terry, at 1212.
So why are the markets doing what they're doing? Why this vacillation here on some of these?
Well, looking at corn, Terry, in the past 6 weeks, since we've got that, March 31st crop, U.S. crop report, things were kind of trading in a range, but, since the past 6 weeks, we've kind of, slowly but surely been inching higher. And then if you look at, was it Wednesday, we hit on the spot market on the May futures, we hit $6 corn futures, and we haven't seen that since July of 2013. And then actually the December new crop was just a penny off the old time for high on that contract as well. And, it's again, it's the Brazil Safrinha corn weather is still the front and center of the bullish factor on corn. That crop got planted late. It's been dry, so that's kind of pushing that. Soybean, you got the surging vegetable oil markets supporting the beans. And then in the wheat, we've got expanding drought in some of the key spring wheat areas. That's kind of set that crop back a little bit. So we're seeing some rain and snow moving across some of the parts of the Dakotas, but maybe that's why wheat turned negative here recently. Maybe they got a little bit more moisture there. That's maybe going to help that crop a little bit, but it's got a long ways to go. So
I've been told that out in the northern plains, the Dakotas, there is some concern and possibly the guys are going to be changing some wheat planting out there, like spring wheat might not happen in some spots.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a factor for sure. When you got the soybean markets as they are, it wouldn't be a surprise to see some of those spring wheat acres get tore up and planted into some other crops. So for sure. So
it's going to be real interesting too, because the long range forecast for that part of the country, not really all that great as far as moisture goes, but I've been seeing some below average temperature trends in that part of the country. And that really doesn't bode well for soybeans up there.
Well, no, that's a good point, Terry. It sure doesn't. So, so there's some alternatives. Crops are going to have to be taken a look at for sure. So
yeah, I'm just real curious. We'll see over the next couple of weeks or so when the next series of 30, 60, and 90-day forecasts come out. Obviously, they're not nearly as accurate as what they could be, but still, to see that trending, there's a lot of conversation that southern Canada especially is going to have a relatively cool summer this year. And they're looking at that spilling down into Montana and especially North Dakota. I don't know if it's going to reach the entire Red River Valley or not, but I hear tell that some of those spots, they're a little leery. They're making optional plans right now. So we'll see how it all shakes out.
Yep. Oh, yeah, for sure.
You have a good weekend. Okay, Gary?
All right. Thanks, Terry. You as well.
Betcha. A little bit more as far as what the markets are doing. Oppenheimer's Doug Klein is joining us right now. The market report brought to you by Schaefer and Beerline. If you're looking for a new Ram commercial truck or van, get it from a dealer that's been around since 1852. Schaefer and Beerline and Frankenmuth knows trucks and vans. Buy with confidence from a dealer where family and service sells cars. And right now, the Ram spring commercial truck season is going on. At Schaefer and Beerline, the Great Lakes Bay Area's certified ag dealer, and by the folks at Thumb Bank and Trust, serving the needs of agriculture for more than 125 years. 2 locations in Bay City, also Cass City, Caseville, Pigeon, and Bad Axe. Thumb Bank, where relationships are built on trust. Morning, Doug.
Good morning.
What are we looking at?
Well, new highs are all in the stock markets today. So the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ all hit new highs. So that's where the speculative money is going. Everybody else is kind of quiet. Soybeans are the biggest mover today. So here's your numbers. The May corn, 5.88 3/4, down a penny and a quarter. December corn, 5.12 1/2, up a quarter of a penny. May soybeans, 14.30 1/2, up 12 1/4. The November soybeans, 12.78 1/2, up 9 1/2. The May wheat is 6.49 3/4, down 4 cents. And December wheat is 6.57 3/4, also down 4 cents. Crude oil, 63.21, down 25 cents a barrel. Heating oil is 189.90, down 4/10 of a penny. Gasoline, 204.84, down 4/10 of a penny. Natural gas, 282 1/2, up 2 cents. Canadian dollar, U.S. dollar gets you 125 at the border. That's down 40 ticks. The yen is at 108.79, up 5 ticks. The euro is at 119.75, up 10 ticks. Dollar's at 91.55, down 13 ticks. Gold's at 1778.10, up 12.70 an ounce. Silver's at 26.10, up 14 cents. Platinum's at 12.0420, up $4.
All right.
There you go.
Have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
You bet. Doug Klein over at Oppenheimer. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present the future. Sevia fungicide from BASF.
It looks like a liquid.
Well, it is. Does it have any buttons or screens? It's a fungicide.
What's the battery life?
No batteries. But it is built from the ground up to navigate the ever-changing regulatory landscape and provides longer-lasting residual control. Experience the future with Sevia fungicide. Always read and follow label directions.
While we're on the subject of BASF, we want to remind everybody that coming up next Tuesday, we're going to have another edition of Talkin' Beans. Joe Kramer and a couple other folks are going to be joining me, and we're going to be talking about estate planning. There's a lot of concern out there right now due to the fact that some of the legislation that could be coming down the line, especially the infrastructure legislation, does or will contain some changes in the tax laws. And as far as capital gains and a few other things, this all could be affected. So Talking Beans next Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. You can go to the farm page, Facebook, as well as the WSGW Facebook and 94.5 The Moose Facebook, and check it out. Talking Beans, a product of BASF.
Now's the time to get a great deal on Kubota equipment, like versatile #1 selling Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors, Z Series mowers that deliver a quality cut, and Sidekick utility vehicles where durability meets speed. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 60 months, now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details. Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota subcompact and compact tractors. Our reliable #1 selling tractors are designed for easy operation and feature all the performance-matched attachments needed to tackle any job. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for 84 months plus save up to $1,200 now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/offers for full disclaimer.
See Kim Weiss at Lingle Equipment, 3001 Sawyer Drive along I-75 at the M81 Carroll exit just south of the Zilwaukee Bridge, Saginaw. Call Kim today at 989-754-7801 or email at k.weiss@lingle1.com.
Well, we're talking about Social Stream Live and the Facebooks coming up here in the not too distant future. We're going to be talking to Chuck Cervinsky over at Maple Hill Nursery, and I've got him on the line right now. Chuck, good morning. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. The sun's trying to shine.
Hey, how about that? Hey, speaking of another thing that's trying to shine, that lawn out there, I understand there's a few problems with some of our lawns.
Moss is starting to become a problem right now. It's not a huge problem, but it can really destroy a lawn if you don't control it. It can be associated with low fertility, compacted soil, shade, restricted air movement in the soil with too much shade and excessive moisture. And you need to figure out what conditions contributed to your moss infestation and then base your corrective actions around that. And some of the things you can do, maintain a higher mowing height. That's a pretty easy one. That improves turf vigor and competition against moss invasion. You can fertilize the lawn to encourage more aggressive turf growth to help crowd the moss out. You can do a soil test to see if the soil is lacking something. You can core aerate your lawn to reduce compaction, increase some air movement. If shade's an issue, you can prune some trees to maybe increase some air movement and sunlight to the lawn area. All pretty easy things to do. And then you can also apply a chemical product. Scott's makes a good granular moss killer, and so does Bonide. And both of those are very effective moss killers.
Now, as far as fertilization goes on the lawns, any particular combination like 12-12-12, 20-20-20? What are you recommending right now?
Triple 12 will work. Triple 19, like a 32-04. There's a lot of different things you can use. You want to get enough nitrogen so it really gives the grass a kick, so it does take off and grow, quite rapidly. And that's probably the easiest way to help crowd the moss out, is to get your lawn to grow a little bit more.
Okay, so now let's say we do use some chemical treatment. What do we do after that?
What you're going to want to do, especially if you use the Scots or the Bonide, is you're going to rake the dead moss out of the lawn before you put down any new topsoil or reseed, because you're going to have some bare areas where the moss, killed the grass off. But you've got to get rid of the dead stuff before you go ahead and reseed.
Little too early yet for dandelions and some of those things?
A little bit. We're getting a few calls on that. If it's really heavily infested, you could spray, but it's pretty early to combat those yet.
All righty. Chuck, you have a good weekend, all righty?
You too. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, talk next week. Chuck Cervinsky, Maple Hill Nursery.
Drive green with Bader & Sons Company all year long and enjoy the ride. Run with us from now until June 1st and get an even better deal on 1 to 5 Series John Deere tractors with John Deere Rewards. Productivity and versatility are how we run. That's why the 1 through 5 Series John Deere tractors and attachments are engineered to help you till, mulch, haul, seed, sweep, plow, load, and of course, mow. Stop in today or buy online at greentractors.com.
Northeastern Paint, Home Decoration Center. We're more than a custom paint store. We have everything you need. From carpet to lighting, it's all here. With quality and satisfaction guaranteed. Northeastern Paint, Home Decoration Center.
Since 1959, count them, that's 62 years, Northeastern Paint Supply has been serving the Tri-Cities. We have the most knowledgeable staff in the area, offering you the highest quality products in the industry. Benjamin Moore Paints, Hunter Douglas Blinds, Quazell and Kitchener Lighting, flooring from Flooring America, fireplace doors, gas logs, and custom-made rugs. It's all here under one roof. Northeastern Paint Supply, Saginaw and Bay City.
Northeastern Paint, Home Decoration Center.
Don't forget now, tomorrow morning, 5:35, the Farm Service Ag Week in Review takes place, where we highlight some of the things that we've talked about this week on the farm program. We'll be back at 12:30 with an update, so you stick around. But right now, we join radio stations all across the country by playing our national anthem.
From the Stone Specialist Studios, this is WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland,